I don't know, I don't know how to do those. Do I have to hit the right arrow? To go live, on live stream? I've never. I don't, no, it's just live. If we just get out of them. Yes, okay. Ready to go.
All right, we will call this meeting to order. Welcome everyone to tonight's select board meeting. Today's Monday, May 11th. I'm Sabrina Dunlap and we have Steve Lux, Vicky Bram and Alyssa McCann with us. So Stephen Whitley cannot be with us tonight. He had a work conflict. So first up in Points of Pride, we are going to start with the promotion of Brian O'Connor, if that's okay with you. So I will read you the oath of office.
Yeah.
All right. I, Brian T. O'Connor,
I, Brian T. O'Connor,
do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm
do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm
that I will bear faith and true allegiance to
that I will bear faith and true allegiance
the United States of America
to the United States of America
and the state of New Hampshire,
and the state of New Hampshire,
and will support the constitutions thereof.
and will support the constitutions thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I, Brian T. O'Connor,
I, Brian T. O'Connor,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform all the duties
discharge and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me as police lieutenant,
incumbent upon me as police lieutenant,
according to the best of my abilities,
according to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules
agreeably to the rules
and regulation of this Constitution,
and regulations of this Constitution,
the laws of the state of New Hampshire,
the laws of the state of New Hampshire,
and the bylaws and ordinances of the town of Hopkinton.
and the bylaws and ordinances of the town of Hopkinton.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir. Congrats.
Karen.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, very official.
All righty, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I should.
Yeah, it's great. Sorry. You up.
No.
Oh, yeah, we're. Thank you.
Yeah.
For the truck, yes, thank you. Right.
Meeting adjourned.
Yes, and that's all our business for tonight. Okay, thank you. Thank you. It's always fun to do promotions. Okay, so other points of pride, I just wanted to thank all of the, I think it was 7 towns that helped with the fire on Hopkinton Road last week. And thankfully everyone was okay and pets were okay, but lots of mutual aid on that one. So just wanted to thank our fire department and all the towns that helped us out on that.
I also just wanted to say thank you to the Department of Public Works for changing the location of the Kimball Cabins Horseshoe Trail sign and making a nice new frame and roof for it. They did a great job. It looks nice.
And I'm gonna give a shout out to Chase Aldridge and his crew for the cleanup they did in town. They were on Dustin Road and set their sights on East Pennacook in the coming weeks. So kudos to them.
I have 2. One is to the Hopkinton PTA for planning and executing an amazing Teacher Appreciation Week. Last week, they had events running at all 3 schools appreciating our teachers, which is no small feat. And then also there were a number of volunteers from in town who were speakers at a Plan New Hampshire visit here to Kentucky. And I think about, Chuck Gregory, who was here in town, who presented to us about the roundabout idea in front of the fire station. And him and the other volunteers just did a really amazing job representing Hopkinton/Kentucky to broader organizations that work with municipalities.
I would just piggyback off of the thanks to the other mutual aid departments for also, we had a pretty aggressive brush fire a couple weeks ago as well. And which ended up lasting multiple days, but it went quite well overall. For alarm.
Yeah, scary. Okay, great. So next up, we have administrative and approval of the consent agenda.
I will move we approve the consent agenda for May 11th.
Second.
Right? Discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, and approval of the meeting minutes for March 2nd, 2026,
Do not have.
which I was gonna say, I don't remember seeing this. Right, you did
Yes.
submit to that, sorry. Okay. That was a 5-hour meeting, so
That's
that's
a 5-hour meeting and they're almost complete.
okay.
So you'll see them next time with some other ones.
Okay, so our first public appointment was Scott Eaton from the Boundtree ATV Club. Hello. Well, let's see, do we have?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
I smited the chair and bring it back.
Did we choose? And Mike's.
I'm gonna have Jake come up with some.
Hi,
Hi there.
welcome.
Give a little short notice, but we appreciate it. So some of the things we wanted to speak about was a speed limit on Pine Street relative to ATVs. I know Jake has been putting a lot of work and speaking to a lot of different agencies in reference to this. So I'm gonna let him speak on this if that's okay.
Sure.
So from past president, we got approved in 2017 to run on Pine Street for a 3/4 mile span down to basically Riverside Pizza. And also access to HR Clough for fuel. It is now currently 10 miles an hour. And a lot of people don't really do 10, they go 15 anyways. And law enforcement can't write citations for underneath because the radar guns don't work until 20. So it's hard to prove that they're speeding. I have spoke with the department heads and I believe the town administrator also has brought it up to them, the department heads at one point.
Yep.
And they have all basically told me to do the posted speed limit at 30. Fish and Game says that it is up to the town to decide the speed limit for town roads. So I would like to see it 30, but I'll leave it up to you guys.
May I ask you a question?
Yes,
When you say we changed or we decided on 10, was that the select board or is that like a
I-
committee?
I believe that was the select board and the board of directors at the point for the ATV club agreed upon that 10 miles an hour.
Thank you.
Yep.
Quick question. Is there a reason it would be 30 and not 25?
Nope, it's the speed limit through there's 30. That's why I was,
To align it.
right.
Yeah. It just seems like a big jump. So if it's currently 10 and people aren't doing 10, is your sense that people are doing closer to 30?
They're going 15 to 20 already down it, roughly.
Mhm.
So when I talked to the police chief, I think he said, he thought it was currently, 15 and recommended 25.
Are there any sightline concerns or safety concerns with increasing the speed?
I would say not really. I think sightline is pretty good, right straight down through there.
And then is there and excuse my ignorance here, is there a time frame in which ATVs can and cannot run down Pine Street? I'm just thinking about,
Sunrise to sunset,
excellent.
Same
You
as-
have someone going
Correct.
30 miles an hour at 10 PM
Yep.
down Pine Street.
same,
Great.
the whole trail system, sunrise to sunset,
Thank you.
so.
So if TJ recommended 25 miles per hour, I think it might just be helpful to clarify. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's any magic to this. It just seems like 10 to 30 seems like a very big jump to me. And if the police said 25, I would be inclined to go with that, but
Wish he was still here.
I know he'll be back. We can verify.
Are we able, I mean, obviously, if folks have any concerns or need further information, I want to honor that. And barring that, are we able to, if we have to vote to empower TJ, Chief of Police, to have the final say on the speed limit so that we don't have to keep them waiting and have them circle back to us? So that if he says 25, then 25, he says 30, 30.
Is this an ordinance though? Because I know like our town, yeah. So we have to actually change the ordinance.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe we can just, I mean, we know it's an issue. Maybe we can just clarify with the police department and then vote on it. Do you have an opinion on?
I mean, I don't own an ATV any longer, but I mean, I used to ride that a lot. 10 is excruciatingly slow pace.
Uh-huh.
And when you're already on a generally busy road that now all those vehicles have to go beyond you, to pass,
Mhm.
it makes it potentially more difficult, more dangerous.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I have my own, I personally would rather, I'd like to see that also, but this is separate, but I would like to discuss the speed on Pine Street vehicle traffic
Mhm.
separately anyway. So, I mean, from my personal belief, I think 25 would be appropriate.
Mhm. Okay.
And if that's what you guys decide is a 25, we're okay with that too.
Mhm.
You know, we're just trying to see,
Yeah, 10 does seem very low.
yeah.
Any other questions? So maybe we'll just clarify with the police department and then because it's an ordinance, we'll have to vote on it. But I mean, I probably would lean to 25. And if you're leaning that way, then if TJ's leaning that way, that's probably where we'll go.
Okay,
But yeah, but I think an increase seems reasonable.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming in.
Do you?
Thank you.
You called, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have an email address or something that, or a place I could just get back to you and give you an update?
Yeah,
Or if you want to
yeah.
know? Okay, yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next up is accepting of donation of open space land.
Yeah. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
Karen Robertson, Planning Department. I know it was late, later from meeting today. Do you guys happen to have, okay, so, right, great. So the proposal is to accept approximately 12.8 acres of open space land that is intended to be permanently preserved for conservation purposes. This is consistent with the Conservation Subdivision Ordinance and recommendations by the Conservation Commission, and I've included their letter. The Conservation Commission, just for the record, on December 19, 2025, had written a letter. The commission recommended acceptance subject to conditions including conservation deed restrictions, boundary monumentation, and management of the property for conservation purposes. The property does include a small wetland, with the majority of the property being upland areas. It borders land of the Army Corps of Engineers, the town of Hopkinton, and Meadows and Timberland, which is in conservation easement. Protection of the parcel will help preserve the existing natural buffer adjacent to the Army Corps property, protecting portions of the Corps' flowage easement area. I did reach out to Steve up at the up at the dam. He was very happy that this was a proposal to be accepted because it does, again, protect their flowage easement. The preservation of the land will also provide temporary refuge and travel corridor for wildlife during flooding and helps maintain larger contiguous undeveloped areas. Then on January 12th, the select board gave unanimous support of ownership of the open space as recommended by the Conservation Commission. And then on March 17th, the planning board approved a conservation subdivision creating 7 residential lots and this 1 open space lot subject to conditions, including the select board's formal acceptance.
Thank you for all your hard work on this.
Yeah, I just thought it was important so the public would realize.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions for Karen? Okay. So do we need a motion officially? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't.
No, that's okay. Does anyone have an issue with this?
No.
Okay.
It's great.
I guess I'll move to accept the open space land as presented.
Great.
Need anything further than that? Probably not.
Seconded.
Seems pretty solid.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
Okay, so our public hearing on sewer rates is not until 6:15. And our other public appointment is at 6:30. So
Here, I thought we were gonna have a slow night and it's going very quickly.
knock on wood. Okay, so we can move on to town administrator updates.
Sure. So first off, Paula, we have milfoil in actually Kimball Pond and Kimball Lake. And we have some money set aside in the CIP for removal. I think we have $5,000 every 2 or 3 years. And this is a year that we want to actually do something over there. She has talked with DES. In fact, I think I put the map in your,
Yeah.
and they went out in 2 kayaks and paddled around and
Made these
GPS
GPS
yeah,
dots.
Yeah, so you can see where it is. The swim area is fairly clean just because they have worked there before. And the proposal is to spend approximately $4,000 to have 2 people go out and take up to about 3 days to remove and keep the swim area clean. This their divers are on site between 6 and 8 hours. They would work for 3 days.
It's
Opposed?
like a very manual process.
And
Crazy.
Karen, I don't remember if this was before or after you joined us. Paula came and spoke with us about milfoil and did explain that you have to be certified to remove. You can't just send volunteers in.
Yes.
There's a lot because I think it also.
Well, you can
When-
send certified volunteers.
Yeah, but you
I
have to
think
be
we learned that Karen is one.
Oh, yeah, Karen's a certified volunteer.
She's been
That-
trained to remove
Don't
milfoil.
But I also do remember Paula talking about there needing to be a larger conversation around the impact on the bodies of water and the way that it is spreading. And
Mhm.
so we don't have to do it right now. Just bookmarking that I know we're gonna talk about this, what we budgeted for, but also don't want to forget that Paula did raise it to our attention that there's a larger issue happening between the bodies of water.
Right. Well, the challenge is the stuff just doesn't give up.
Yeah.
You just have to stay ahead of it and
Yeah.
keep after it. And the 2 bodies of water are connected. So doing work at the pond without doing something up at Kimball Lake.
And I believe she said we'd have to speak to, was it DES? There was another department we'd have to speak to in order to work over at the lake, right? It's not just us.
I don't know the answer to that, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And property owners and, there's a lot to it. So looking for a motion to expend $4,000, up to $4,000 from the Recreation Facilities Maintenance Expendable Trust Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Started out with milfoils because it's my least favorite, I guess. So just a little quick update on the cap. I kind of started pushing Nobis on what's going on over there, if we're gonna fix it this summer, how's this all gonna go? He said, right now Nobis is working on the package for the bid documents for the septic lagoon cleanup. And they're also going to be working on this as well. They can't be bid together because there's state funds in the lagoon, but we want to get this out. He had said a few weeks ago, mid-May, they'd do the septic lagoon, that would be ready to go out. So I would anticipate this will be going out shortly as well. And then if there is a contractor who wants to attempt to do both, it'll be there as for their opportunity. What else do we have? The George Park bathroom work began today.
Wow.
So yes, and the directional drilling, which I'm fascinated by that somehow. That begins next Monday. So that is underway. We have, well, let me talk about Brimfield. I had a question about Brimfield and whether or not the folks there had been in touch with our first responders, and the answer is yes. I spoke both to the police chief and the fire chief, and they feel comfortable moving forward with that they're as prepared as they can be for whatever might happen that day. So they're in good shape. Land use change tax. You'll remember that the Wilders donated 22 acres of land, and we discussed waiving the land use change tax on that, and then we
We said, how
discussed-
much is it gonna be?
How much is $1,000, a little over $1,000.
Great.
But where the town has voted to put half of the land use change tax into the conservation fund, I didn't know if the board could actually do that. So we reached out to New Hampshire Municipal, and they said, yes, absolutely. But the process is, yes, absolutely, you can waive it. The process is they have to be billed before you can actually waive it. So we sent them a bill, and they sent us a letter, which is in your drive, requesting the board waive the $1,040.
So this is just part of the process, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Do we need to take action right now to waive this?
Or we already did.
No, you haven't waived it yet, because
Oh.
we paused it to
To
figure
send the
out.
bill? Okay.
Yep, to
Do
figure
they-
out what the amount was.
Do the Wilders know that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because we actually had to go back to them if this goes back
Yeah.
several months, where the Conservation Commission had requested that the board waive the
Mhm.
change tax. And according to New Hampshire Municipal, it needs to be the actual property owner, the person who was actually billed. So
Right, okay.
we jumped through those hoops and we're
Okay.
ready to waive.
So I'm gonna make a motion. I move that we waive the land use change tax bill for the Wilders from the 22 acre donation made in May of 2025.
Seconded.
Okay. Any discussion?
Are we also adding in a refund for the $16 filing fee to the state?
I think we paid that.
As well?
Okay, I wasn't sure because she mentions it in the letter. Excuse me,
Oh,
mentioned it in the letter, so. If we already paid it, then that's fine.
no, I guess it looks like they paid it. Do you want to
So
waive?
land use change tax and the filing fee of $16. Can you amend your motion?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll just say it again. I move that we waive the land use change tax bill for the Wilders from their 22-acre donation to the town in May of 2025, and
Refund.
refund
Yeah.
the Merrimack County Registry filing fee of $16.
Seconded.
Okay, good catch. All right, all those in favor?
I,
Right?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
In our ever-ending or never-ending quest to keep Beverly busy, we have another grant opportunity. This one's through New Hampshire DES. This involves cybersecurity and water systems. It's a $20,000 grant through the Overwatch Foundation, which they apparently feel that our wastewater systems and water systems are a prime target. So we have agreed to let them evaluate our systems, and they will spend up to $20,000 making recommendations, new software, whatever it is. If it goes beyond 20, then the town will become responsible for it. I think what will happen is they'll come back with a recommendation, we'll have an idea, and then we'll decide, if sure, it's $15,000, go ahead and do it. It's 25, let's figure out what pieces we do, or how we fund the pieces, full amount. So that is underway.
But it's clear that we're not gonna, like, they can't come back to us and be like, now you go spend $50,000.
Nope, there's no matching, yeah. This is, I think it's one of the federal administration's efforts.
Okay.
Things. Really good news from Lisette. She said the prospective board, or the new food pantry board, is actually no longer prospective. They've met and they voted in officers. They have decided on their name to be the Hopkinton Community Food Pantry. And it's moving forward. She had provided them with a bunch of information on how to become a 501c3 and all the stuff they need to file. And they are moving forward with that. I think their next meeting is June 8th. So
So it is a 501c3
it will be, was when they
when they file?
yeah,
Okay,
when they
great.
finish filing and stuff. So, they voted the directors, they voted roles, they voted an organization name, they approved a mission statement. And, which is the mission of the Hopkinton Community Food Pantry is to address food insecurity by providing food assistance to individuals and families in need within our community. So, yeah.
wonderful.
And so they can accept donations directly. Oh, good.
As soon as they're a 501c3.
Excellent.
Well, they
Okay.
can
Yes,
accept
when-
donations before they're 501, it's just you don't get it as a tax
Right,
write-off.
okay.
Once they're a nonprofit, they can accept
Okay.
donations. And that's registering with the state
Charitable.
charitable trust.
Yeah.
The triple unit, but
It's
it's just not a tax deductible donation until they're.
It's actually with the Secretary of State, the charitable trust is last.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like, not that you've done it recently.
Let's see what else we have. Couple of resignations to note. Amanda Gilman is stepping off the Economic Development Committee. She's got some work demands that are sort of preempting this. And Kelly Lewis has resigned as a cemetery trustee. Again, work is taking more of her time, so. We now have one trustee of the trust funds and one cemetery trustee to appoint. So if you can think of anybody, we have 2 vacancies, 2 important vacancies.
I thought you maybe had an application for at least one of those.
Yes. Yep. That's what I've got.
Okay.
Can I ask just a follow-up question, because you mentioned Beverly and grants? Whatever came of the ADU grant she was pursuing?
We did not get that.
Bummer. Okay,
That was
thank
the-
you.
Okay. Can we quickly jump to new business since we still have 15 minutes and reschedule the Memorial Day meeting
To Tuesday?
to Tuesday, the 20th,
That was
to the
easy.
26th, I think?
Yeah, 26 would be Tuesday.
Okay.
And Karen's already left. I think,
Yes.
I think we bumped the planning board on that one, and I think I've already given her a heads up.
Okay.
potentially.
Can everybody make that?
The Tuesday?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I already had it on my calendar. We didn't
Okay.
have to move it?
I don't know, not officially, so now it's official.
Oh, okay. Tuesday, May 20th.
Stephen has to be here.
Yeah, that's right. Must be. Okay. And then accepting donation of the cemetery plots, is that quick?
Yep, that should be fairly quick. Can't remember if I brought this in before. There was somebody, did Lynn come in and maybe talk about it? There's someone who has 4 plots who wanted to sell them and get a refund from the town. Lynn investigated that and that can't be done. They can donate these plots back to the town for resale. So it's in the Kentucook Village Cemetery, and actually it's the right to bury. So they have signed some donation paperwork. I don't know about the $1 that they mentioned in there, and are requesting the board accept the donation so that these plots or these rights can be resold.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, still have 10 minutes, more than 10 minutes. Okay, so back up to old business. First up is the Bates Building.
Bates Building, Annie Fry had sent an email, and I think you've got a copy of it.
Yeah.
With some items that she wanted to have addressed. Talked to Dan about it, and he said, yes, this is probably something that as good landlords we should do. It would take approximately 2 or 3 days of Dan Kuchar's time and $500 or so. He said probably less. He's quite confident it would be less in materials. Greg's repair budget line is really suffering from some attention at the fire station. So my request is that we use the facilities maintenance expendable trust, or is it the trust? Is it- Use the facilities maintenance trust to fund the $500. There's money in there and not impact the operating budget. The alternative would be to go over on that line in Greg's budget and do so knowingly.
And because there's 2 different things addressed in Annie's letter, we're just referring to the wall, the lights, the outlets, and the telephone, correct?
Yes, yep. We'll talk about the next thing in a minute.
Awesome.
So let me tell you where Greg's budget is. In basically his repairs and equipment, he has $4,500 scheduled, and he's already at $4,200 spent. So he's really stretched.
Is a lot of that because of the boiler at the fire station?
Yep.
And taking the money out of the maintenance trust fund doesn't throw anything else off, right?
No, it's
May I address? In what capacity?
As a taxpayer,
We
vote warrant article money to fund CIP line budget items. So if you withdraw the money from the maintenance trust, you're technically shortchanging something in the CIP.
The CIP and the maintenance trust are 2 different.
Its warrant article money is voted to match the recommendations of the CIP. You have the discretion, I believe, but I would like to point out that the downside is that if you don't take it from operations, you're potentially throwing the CIP out of whack.
I'm not 100% convinced because the maintenance trust fund is developed to help maintain things that are degrading. And so since we're looking to fix something that is degrading as opposed to daily operations, but I'd have to,
You would certainly know better than that when you make the deliberations on recommending that warrant article money, what you mean by it. So, that's all.
Other thoughts on the $500?
I mean, aren't we likely to go over in Greg's line item anyway?
Mm.
So I'm fine with just letting him continue to overspend in that line item.
That is my recommendation, is just because it lets you know what your true expense is.
Right,
You know, you look at that report at the end of the year and you say, wow, we went over, and you look at why, and then you start to develop your next budget based on, okay, what are our real needs?
yeah.
But that's my personal.
so was it Greg or Dan who recommended or mentioned the maintenance trust fund as a possible?
I think it was Dan.
I'm fine with
I
letting it.
had conversations with both of them.
From the operating budget?
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as Greg knows that, you know, we want to know what his true costs are, so it doesn't mean if there's other things that need to be done, we need to just know about them. I don't want him to see this as like a, you know,
A punishment
credit
or,
or something.
yeah. And I
Um,
think it's important for him to know also that if he gets to the point where his bottom line budget is really pushing the limit, that the select board will find money in another area.
Yeah.
You know, would-
Lauren, do you want to comment?
Do you have a question? I guess I'll hit the mic because that's
Thank
probably
you.
the way to go. Lauren Clement, 86 Maple Street. I just had if we could have a clarifying question. Obviously, the Bates Building's been rented out and there's been some significant work using staff and whatnot. And now they're taking over the lower area of that building is my assumption. I was wondering if the rent went up because of all this work and I did removing a bunch the staff was used to remove a bunch of files upstairs, which wasn't part of the initial agreement. It was upstairs and they needed more space for classes, which maybe makes sense, but it is taking up.
Dollars and cents, they are paying more in rent for access to the space. And in order for them to have access, we did have to clear the space because we were storing things there.
So the rent went up. That's a great. So that was my question is then what happens with that revenue? Does it just end up in the general fund or can that not be used to offset some of these expenses?
It is budgeted revenue, which means it's expected and anticipated. So it doesn't, it offsets our whole budget.
And as I'm looking at and this is from December of 2025, so it's probably not, I just couldn't find quickly the latest version of the maintenance trust fund. We do have like the Bates Building furnace in there, right? But it
Which
might
was-
be,
That was done.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it might be worth when it is time to talk about maintenance trust funds, considering what, if anything, we need to put aside for the Bates Building as ongoing maintenance.
Okay, so is everyone okay with having them pull from the operating budget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do we?
Second half of that email talked about benches.
Mhm.
And they were hoping, they've got one donated, and they're hoping that the town would help with the second one.
Did they just wait until another one was donated?
And where are they going? Just out front?
Yeah, we talked about when they were in, I don't know,
They
maybe
saw
last fall.
approval on the idea of putting benches outside, and
Yeah.
we were amendable to it as
Yeah.
long as they were in charge of them and maintaining them and got approval from the DPW to make sure it didn't impede on any other maintenance of that area. I am personally not inclined at this time to donate a bench to a private organization. There are a number of other programs that they could pursue that could lead to that. So,
Yeah, the Lions Club does a great job getting those free benches from the plastic.
I was actually gonna call them
recycling.
anyways, but yes,
Yeah.
I'm with you, yeah.
Yeah.
I love the idea. I hope it comes through for them. I don't think it's a good use of the taxpayer money at this time.
I agree.
Vicky, you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to vote on the 500 or are we good?
No, no, because it's just gonna come out of operating, so.
Can we start the revenue and expenses in our 4 minutes that we have?
Sure. Revenue, the only things that I noted, first of all, this is March, January through March. And we have done some land use tax billing and some meal tax billing. Those have not showed up in the revenue yet. Pilots have not either. I'm not sure if we've billed any. I think she does those a little bit later. I mean, revenue kind of is what it is.
The ambulance billing, is that all squared away now?
Meaning what? We haven't billed them yet.
Comstar and stuff. I mean.
Oh, comms.
Yeah, Medicaid and stuff.
Yep, the rates were
Changes,
changed
yeah.
January 1st.
I'm looking at the January to March revenue. And I'm wondering if we could get the I'm wondering if we can, what's the difference, I guess, between percent collected and prior year-to-date revenues? Prior year-to-date revenue is supposed to compare how much we had earned or how much we'd collected at this point last year compared with how much we've collected at this point.
That's what it sounds like. but
Okay, yeah.
It's zeros all the way down, so I don't have an answer
I
for
don't,
that.
no, it's fine. I don't find that column helpful. I'm just thinking ahead to the budget committee. I feel like the weird right-hand column of zeros is not helpful.
Could you, sorry, just a quick explanation on the last page for revenue. My brain's just not catching up. The general fund, why does it
Why does it
look the way it looks?
Why does it say we made 345% of our revenue?
I'm sure there's a very obvious reason. I'm just not.
Because that's percent collected and yeah. I mean, it talks about the uncollected as being a negative, so I think that's why it's revenue. I don't even really look at those last two columns just because they don't make any sense.
But the estimated and the year to date. Why are they so different?
Year to date estimated. The estimated is basically what we budget. It's part of what we put in our MS 737. And then year to date is the actual.
Yes. But why are the numbers so different?
The revenue, because that's a full year. So I'm looking at miscellaneous revenue. We're budgeting 51,000. So far we've taken in 16. That's the one up from the bottom.
Yes. Yes, I'm looking at the general fund at the very bottom. So it's right underneath where you were looking.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. I don't.
Could this possibly have anything to do with the late tax billing last year?
because it would have
It
been,
would have been applied to last year, but because it came in,
well, it would have, yeah, it would have come in.
I'm wondering if that is,
I'm just wondering why in the 100 general fund, there's am I reading this right? 10 million difference between estimated and actual.
Yeah, I should take property tax out of there because it looks like that we billed the 13 million and then we received the 13 million. The actual, it's not taking into account the due to, due from
yeah,
piece of it.
that's what I was thinking.
Like-
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. So that's what it
Yeah,
is.
I'm
It's just
sorry.
about last year's revenue being
Yep.
put into this year's. That's it. Okay, potentially.
Yes.
I want to recognize it as 616, so I'm gonna stop asking
Yes.
questions.
Okay. Okay, so we can jump to our, we can come back if we need to, but we will jump to our public hearing on sewer rates. So we had a hearing about a year ago because we realized a couple years ago that our sewer rates were way lower than they needed to be to cover our costs and made the decision to raise sewer rates 30% in 25, 26, and 27, and then reevaluate. So this is our 2026 increase to try to close that gap.
There is a PowerPoint that we've put together. I don't know how in-depth you want to get into this.
We should
It is-
definitely pull up
These the graphs.
this one pager.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what you were talking about, Karen?
I was talking about the PowerPoint, but
Oh, okay.
let's get the one pager. No.
Thank you for putting the minutes in here from when we made these decisions. I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was helpful for me. Why am I not seeing? it?
This is the public information document.
What just happened?
Uh-oh.
We're still good.
All right, I'm gonna go pull it off of a website because it's not coming up here. Mhm. This thing. Maybe I need to go share this.
Good.
Yep, you guys ready? So we have approximately 222 users. Our current annual rate is 442. That was what was voted last year. It was a 30% increase on 2024. As we talk about this, the funny, odd thing is that the rates went into effect mid-year essentially with the second billing. So our revenues and our expenses are going to be a little bit out of whack with our projections. But so the proposed increase is another 30%. On top of last year's 30%, which why is this? Let's pull this out. On top of last year's. I'm not gonna fight with you.
No.
442, which gets us to 574 for an annual rate, $132 per year increase. The gallon per volumetric rate per gallon, again, that goes up 0.002925 cents to 0.012 cents. This adds between the two of them a total of about $100,000, just under $100,000, $98,000 to the revenue stream. If you look at the bottom, the left-hand side is operational only. In fiscal year 25, we were actually, our expenses were outpacing our revenues by maybe 50,000. In 26, it looks like we pass and we more or less break even. Going forward, the revenues would be more than sufficient to cover expenses. That does not include capital. The second graph shows you what happens when you start factoring in capital expenses. The orange is, again, is your expense. The blue is what you're falling short each year, and that becomes cumulative. Green is your capital expense.
And Karen, when you talk about our expenditures, you're just referring to daily operation. You're not referring to when something breaks or when something goes wrong. This is literally just the day-to-day, assuming everything works just like it's supposed to, which we know it's not.
That would be operational, and there is money budgeted in there to cover, you know, unanticipated, but not huge catastrophic.
And I understand in some of the conversations we've had over the last year with Dave, that's Dave, right? Okay, I was like, please tell me I just said the right name out. That's,
I answered anything.
I mean, mostly it's thank you, but that there are some potential large areas that could break that would not be covered by what we currently have, that it would be a scramble to fix. Because I know he's been fixing small
been chipping
things
away
here
at-
and there,
yep.
fixing what he can,
Yep.
but it's also one of those things where if we don't start taking a much larger view on it, we could end up in a very expensive place, accidentally and unplanned. Am I getting that right, based off of what I've heard about the sewer?
Yeah.
Excellent. And what would happen if the sewer stopped working?
Phones would ring. Phones would ring.
You told us once, and I'm trying to remember, but I believe like the backup plan if the sewer went down involved
There isn't one.
it's meant like a lot of money and trucks coming in to try to pump stuff out and it just being,
The backup plan that I have right now currently is to try to find as many septic trucks that I can to handle the flow that comes in. The only mitigation to that is they're gonna have to haul it from downtown to the plant and rotate, dumping, pumping, dumping. But if they can't keep up, the severity of it is that once the line surcharges from the wet well at the pump station, it's gonna back up into every basement in every building downtown. And then once that happens, it's gonna overflow into the river, and all the hard work that's been put into, you know, keeping that river as pristine as it is will be for nothing. And then you gotta deal with EPA, shoreline protection. You know, DES is the least of the problems. They're actually the people that I depend on the most for help. So,
We're not there yet.
no, we're looking a lot better than we did
Okay,
2.5 years ago.
good.
thank you.
But I think this is to hit home the incredible importance of maintaining this and making sure we're making our way to covering our costs and being able to have some money for beyond operations.
Can we talk more about that? How, you know, I understand that we did the math and that we understand what we should be as a responsible system, putting aside for capital expenses. Is there a trust that it would go in? How would we be setting aside money for future catastrophe?
Catastrophe or just ongoing, I mean, there's I think there's a wastewater, I can't think of the name of it right now, but there is a wastewater fund, trust fund that we are expending from to do these projects.
Uh-huh.
We save and we expend from that. So that would be the most appropriate place to save for catastrophic failures.
So did we vote that amount in at town meeting, wastewater maintenance fund? We did. Okay. Got it.
Yep.
So would it just be up to us to sort of remind ourselves that budget season, this is the year where we've passed operational expenses and are starting to put aside money for capital. So we need to take that into account when funding that maintenance trust next year.
Yes.
Okay.
So the sewer fund or sewer fund, I guess it was set, not the capital reserve fund.
Yep.
The whole sewer funding was set up as an enterprise fund, which means it's supposed to be as a net zero,
Yep.
which
It is.
this is far from it.
Yep.
And this is showing, the graph is showing that your operating revenue really needs to climb a little faster to keep pace with, you know, the upgrades that are needed, the repairs that are needed, the maintenance.
Is there any particular project that we are saving for?
Yes and no.
Okay.
The problem is that over the last 50 years, there's been very little maintenance that's happened. So, you know, to say that everything is going to be a catastrophic event is not entirely out of the realm, but I mean, it'd be like Dan trying to predict that Spring Street was going to wash out, or Pine Street, whichever street that was.
Mhm.
But we all know costs aren't getting cheaper.
Mhm.
I mean, to give you some idea, to replace one pump that's in that pump station, the average cost of that whole unit, just one pump, and there's two down there, is 50 grand.
Mhm.
It was like 46,300 2 years ago when I priced them out, because I wasn't sure, you know, we had to do something back.
Mhm.
So, you know, to get us to the point where we have the capital expense money, you know, readily available instead of, you know, waiting for something to happen.
Mhm.
I mean, the system needs to operate as it was intended, but it also needs to be maintained. We just recently, for the first time in 50 years, cleaned the whole collection system, which some of it was very eye-opening, and some of it was very reassuring that I don't have, there's sections of towns that I don't have to worry about. But you know, there's problems with that, and you know, this is all stuff that things that needed to be done on a regular basis weren't happening, that we would have known about, you know, whether it's every couple of years, every 5 years, 10 years, and these could have all been addressed, and it would have been minimal expense at the time. So to say there's one project that we're really shooting for, you know, there isn't just one. If I had to throw a dart at a board, I'd hope I hit the pump station. That's as of right now. I mean, I can control the treatment facility,
Mhm.
but that's the heartbeat of the whole thing right there. If I have a hiccup in it, I mean, I'm here in the middle of the night, all day long, on the weekends. You know, there's only so much I can do by myself.
Mhm.
And for those that don't know, I think I brought this up the last time I spoke, was that pump station isn't just a cute little brick building that sits in the back of the park. That's 3 floors down, and the pump room, you get down there, and it's kind of like a morgue. You know, it's dark, and well, not now, it's clean, but
It's like a clean morgue.
yeah, you could, yeah.
I guess the point is that we have aging infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like so many communities do. And we should be at a minimum, you know, looking at our revenue and expense for the sewer system and trying to level it out. We do have a lot of catch up to do, but that's gonna take some time. And Dave's done huge things, made huge improvements since he got here. And the scoping, and I know I promised you guys a report and pictures, and we will get that from the engineers. It's amazing. You know, and we also discovered where there's some issues, so places we need to address.
And what did we put in CIP for this year? Are we doing a pump, one of those 2 pumps down there? No. Was that, did we replace one? Was that last year?
I had the bottom halves of both pumps rebuilt at a considerable discount. So I can at least sleep a little at night.
Okay, are people okay with opening this up to public comment if there is any? Since it's a public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. If anyone would like to comment on the rates, now's your chance. Is anyone online with their? hand up?
Evening again, Lauren Clement, 86 Maple Street. Can you give that number of what this bump up will generate? It was at the top of the screen and Karen said, with the bump up, it would generate X amount more. Also, are both Maple Street School and the high school on the septic system? Just for the public knowledge, and they're included in that 222 users, because they're not exactly the same as a residence having a whole high school. I mean, I'm assuming there's a lot more volume coming. Are they the largest user? Do we know who the largest user is on the system?
It's probably the 2 schools. There's no real way to
Determine, right?
Yeah, it's not like water. You can't, you know, it's not pressurized. Everything's gravity flow, and there's really no way.
Yeah, put that back up, yeah.
I don't know how to do it. So
That's water comes in and then sewer goes out, and it's based off the water meters, right? They're billing, so they would be the higher users on the system. So it's not just residents that would be in a bad way. It'd be both the schools. If things,
She's trying to.
yeah,
pull
no,
it
that's
up.
awesome.
I could just read it to you, so.
Yeah.
I wanted to write down the number, what that would generate. It
it's
didn't.
on the website.
So it
Yeah.
said that actual revenue 2025 is 165,000 and change, and this would be estimated revenue 2026, 263,000 and change, which is a $98,000 difference.
So the increase times 222 users is how that's calculated. It seemed higher than that. That's where
There's a per gallon.
Are these numbers average? Because like you said, it's based on your
consumption.
water consumption, right? So when you say $442 annual rate, is that just,
That's a flat fixed fee.
okay, that's
Everybody
a
pays
flat
that.
fixed fee, okay.
And then if you use more volume, I believe there's add-ons. So if you are a not much user, you pay that flat rate anyways, regardless.
You pay the flat
see.
rate regardless.
I see.
I see.
I see.
The previously, and it was in 2025 when we went to this, you were billed a lower rate if you use less than 9,000 gallons. And a different rate if you used more. That was lovely. You know, we did away with the 2 tiers, and you were at the 0.00975 for any gallon used. So there is for each household, or you know, there's a fixed fee and there's a gallons used fee.
Thank you for all that clarification. And I guess one other question is, I know the Kentucky precinct's working on fixing some meters that aren't working, where are we at there when we had, I know the library's meter wasn't working. There'd be one example, but there was quite a few meters still not working. So how does that, how do you calculate that? Like if the schools isn't working, how's that get calculated? I'm not saying the schools isn't, I don't know.
We did talk to the Kentucky Village Precinct commissioners, and currently about 15% are not being read, not able to be read. The transmission from the meter to the drive-by pad or whatever, the iPad, is higher, but they've actually gone door to door to get actual readings.
So the physical meters are working, but
In some cases.
the remote portion is not working.
In some cases, that's true. In some cases, the meters are not working, and we know of at least one person who doesn't have a meter who's been asking for years for a meter.
So that would add one more person to the user list.
Yeah.
Thank you. I am a user and I am in support of having the system function correctly, but I do also know it probably will impact some people maybe that are already struggling. I guess, and that leads into, do we know, are there people delinquent, and have there been a history of delinquency on people being able to pay the water and sewer bills?
There currently, as of last week, was approximately $7,000 in outstanding unpaid sewer.
And interest accrues on that if you don't
And it gets
pay
leaned.
timely.
Usually when it comes leaning time, that gets people in to catch up on things.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it. And thank you, Dave, for doing what you do. I like your updates on the website. I think people should pay attention to that too, because I don't think people pay too much attention. But anyways, thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
What up there?
Yeah, so the mic can pick you up in the video.
I'm Renee Carey. I live at 107 River Grant. And I just have a couple of comments. First of all, the email that came out that said this is year 2 of a 3-year plan to normalize rates. I would caution against using that word normalize. I don't think it's the correct use of that word. I understand this graph. And I thank you. I don't know you, but I use your outcome, your product every day at River Grant. But I would say, I would wonder how we got here, how we got to where there's going to be a 90% increase over 3 years to the people that use this system with not a lot of warning. That's a lot. And as the previous person said, there are some people that are not going to be able to afford that given the tax increase that's going through. So I would ask how is it that we got here, but with what feels like little or no warning, and what's going to happen to prevent that in the future? Because if you're the only employee, you're a single point of failure. And you should have weekends, you should have nights. That's not sustainable for a human being to do that unless we can find a robot to go down there and deal with it. But I'm assuming those things have been talked about. I haven't, the graph is great. The numbers speak for themselves, but I think those of us who are amongst the 222 users need to understand better what happened. So I don't know if that information is out there somewhere and I've just missed it.
Well, I mean, in general, the rest of the taxpayers have just been covering the expenses that went above and beyond what was collected in the sewer rates. And so we're trying to shift some more costs back onto the users, with the town still carrying more than zero of the cost for it. Right? Like we're only breaking even on operations this year. So again, I don't know specifically. I was just reading these minutes from last year, back when Neil was still here. Google, sorry, give me one sec.
It's interesting to me that an operation of this size has no capital reserve fund.
Everything you're saying, I think, I'll speak for myself, I agree with.
Yeah.
And as someone who was in year 2 of their first term, it was surprising.
Mm.
It was concerning. And I think that when this was built, there was not a maintenance plan put into place. And so we, as we have learned,
Yeah.
we are sharing as quickly as we are learning and doing the best we can to make sure that we're not telling you about it after the system broke.
Yeah, I just think it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, a 90% increase over 3 years. So essentially, our water and sewer bill is going to double. And it's going to double whether we use the bare minimum or we use over that, so there's just 2 of us, so we don't tend to use a lot. But it's just, that's a lot for a taxpayer to take in. So I would just suggest maybe sharing some of that information. Here's how we got here. And I'm not talking about finger pointing or blaming. I'm just saying, here's what happened. Here's how we got here. Here's how we're going to try to deal with that in the future and avoid the use of the word normalize. Because there's nothing normal about this. The other thing I would wonder is if the planning department, I remember when they were going to put, I think it was 12 condominiums over on Cedar Street. And I went to that meeting and I remember standing up and saying, what about the infrastructure there? Can the water and sewer handle it? Because when we lived up on Clement Hill Road, we, yes, our well pump got hit by lightning in that field, but we had the same septic system up there for 40 years. And when we moved to River Grant, the water system's gone down a few times, once in the middle of the night. So some poor person, hopefully it wasn't you, had to get in the hole in the middle of the winter night, deal with that. But it felt tenuous to us, just moving from out of town to in town. So I would hope that the planning, the planning group has that in the back of their minds, because I remember talking about water and about people coming out of that street and trying to go left over the river and over the bridge. They do it all the time when there's clearly a sign there that says no left turn. I'm like, so I'm assuming this group can facilitate that, or you hear from the planning department and all
Just
that?
to clarify, the Kentucky Water Precinct is a independent organization of the town, like from the town. Like we have no control.
No
who's there.
jurisdiction.
No, thank you. No.
Are they a separate government entity?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, so who do they report to?
you guys.
The people who live in the precinct.
They have their own town meeting, their annual meeting, similar to our town meeting,
Okay,
where things are voted on and discussed.
all right,
So an
so,
interesting thing about Hopkinton is that we have 2 village precincts
yeah,
that are their own independent entities, of which the planning board nor the select board have any jurisdiction for the things that they are in charge of.
so you're the public face in a way of it, because I don't.
No. So we.
Well, I don't mean officially, I mean
Oh,
maybe unofficially.
And we try to correct that because we
Yeah,
can't do
I
anything.
appreciate that, because I did not know that.
And the town clerk does send out their invoices, so you're absolutely right. We are the face of it a lot of the time.
Okay.
I forgot to send it. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I want to point out that Dave joined us almost 3 years ago now and started raising the alarm bells and telling everyone what he was seeing in the sewer. And Karen joined us a year ago and was like, pedal to the metal, let's listen to Dave, let's get this done. And so I apologize for the suddenness of
yeah,
this,
it
and
just,
it's one
it
of those-
feels, yeah, as somebody that lives there, it feels like a lot.
So
Yeah.
this is the second year of a 3-year initially proposed, but they also talked about 28 and 29. That if we can't get some of this stuff caught up and in a better position, the increases could float out in years 4 and 5.
Something to look
The
forward to.
board last year, Neil's presentation, or I think that there was a consultant involved who suggested a 50% increase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
the
was gonna
board
say.
scaled it back to 30%
Yeah.
over a longer period of time.
I was gonna ask about that. I was reading these notes and it says that Neil said with a series of, well, this isn't what Neil said, but the minutes say with a series of slides showing information from a recent rate study, which I think
Mhm.
maybe that's where the
That's the
consultant came
yeah.
in.
Yep.
He pointed out, he being Neil, that like most similar municipal water systems, the sewer rates in Hopkinton are below what they should be. So I think I remember that, but we were not alone in underpricing the service. Is that right? That there are other communities having the same conversations.
Does Hopkinton Village have its own water system too?
So yes, but no sewer.
Ah, that's the difference. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was gonna say, I think this came up in 24 maybe. Like initially the fact that our rates were too low. And I do remember having the conversation. It was presented that it could be just all done at once, and we did not want to do that. I appreciate your comments about the increase. It's
Yeah.
obviously not ideal. I
Yeah.
get that. But we did not have a lot of good options. And so went with what we thought was sort of like a little less, better than doing it all in 1 year. But though I appreciate it as a jump, but again, to Vicky's point earlier, we were just woefully behind and
Yeah, I mean, we have to, it has to be done, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, the theory of, or the scenario of having, trucks doing a circle through, I mean, that's just not, that's not sustainable either. But, it feels like a lot. It just feels like a lot.
It's jarring.
Yeah.
Not just that it feels it.
It is a lot, yeah, yeah, and I do worry about some neighbors that they can't sustain that, so, anyway,
thank you for
thank you.
your comments.
One just quick point of clarification.
Go ahead.
If I remember from our conversation about the sewer system, it was originally built to have more houses on it, right? The intention was that it would be larger and thus the individual household cost would be less because your fixed costs would be shared across a larger swath of houses. But that after it was built in the 1980s, for reasons unknown to me, they did not pursue that, nor did they pursue a strong maintenance plan that would have enabled them to add on to the sewer later on, thus reducing the per household cost. Anyone
Yeah,
correct?
did you say it was supposed to be 3 phases and they only ever built phase 1 or something like that?
Right, yeah.
And so right now, our sewer costs more than it should than if back in the 80s and 90s, phase 2 and 3 had been built, and it would have reduced the fixed cost per household. If in some magical future land, we got a handle on this, could it ever be built further out so that the cost per household could come down?
So the design of the system is based on people, not houses. And I think the design was 1,000 people and originally, and it was reduced to 900. Which is nowhere near where we are right now. But when I first started, the system was already at its max. The treatment facility was running full tilt. I was approached by another committee and asking about, an extension plan on each side of town. I adamantly refused. I'd only been here for a few months, but I had to refuse, number one, because I really wasn't sure about what was going on and why it was happening. And as I dug into things further, and finding the infrastructure in the situation it was in, there's just no way you can add to it now. It's been too long.
Okay.
So.
Thank you.
That's a good point and helpful to know, and plays into economic development in our downtown. As the previous speaker she said she was at River Grant, and then that spawned something for me that a lot of community members, including River Grant, use irrigation systems, and the irrigation system is built off of water consumption. Water consumption then turns into sewer billing. And at some point, and I don't know if this then needs to go through the Kentucky precinct, but in certain communities, people get what's called the deduct meter, and you don't have your outside irrigation going getting billed for sewer use. And I don't know how many of that 222 might need this, but that's something River Grant may not want to be watering their lawn and paying 100% more in 3 years for sewer rates. So I just thought that was worth mentioning in the realm of what we're discussing. Thank you.
Anyone else for sewer rate comment? Okay. All right, well then, we will close the public hearing. Do we need to do anything else on that issue tonight or just had the?
I would like to be able to include a memo talking about a rate increase with the bills going out later this month,
Yes,
if we can do that. So that would need the board to vote. Technically, the board voted last year to do this 3-year increase, but I don't think that a current board can pass along a decision to a future board financial dictation or whatever. So
What would go in
That's
the
what-
memo?
what would go in the memo, the board has voted, something, following the 2025 discussion about rates, sewer rates. Here's another, we'll be increasing them another 30%. Here's, what you're paying now fixed. Here's what you're paying, we'll be paying fixed, and then the per gallon
So
increases.
the point in the public comments, I would request that if there is space to include a short narration as to why this is happening, that can include numbers or could include one of these, but also just touches on that human side of it as we have learned more, we are doing our best to be better and to
Yeah.
make sure that y'all have a working system.
Last year, we did a half sheet of paper. So. we
And
can
I think that
certainly-
just like removes all the context. So you're just like, cool, you're paying, like you're making me pay more. But
Yep. Okay.
So do we we'll wait and review something or what's our next step here?
I think we can hand it off to Karen. My request was more of a like, if it can fit in there, please do, but I don't need to see language. I don't need to.
Can certainly share language, but it would be nice to vote the rates tonight, and then we can move forward with, drafting something,
Okay.
not waiting for. And also begin the PR.
So you need a motion?
Yes, please. I'm sorry, I didn't look at me.
No, it's okay.
School name.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve the proposed annual rate increase, the sewer to $574 and the volumetric rate per gallon at 0.01265 excuse me, 675 cents.
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. It's unanimous. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you,
Um,
guys. We're gonna keep chipping away at this.
Thank you to
Thank you to
Thank
Dave
you,
for
Dave.
doing this work
And
and
Dave.
thank you for coming out and sharing your experiences. Just really appreciate it.
Okay. So now we're behind on our public appointment for 6:30, so I apologize for that. But this is our public appointment to discuss, hi, Chief Hennessy is here to discuss the truck situation. In the claim.
Yep.
I'd like to welcome two individuals here, head of the DOT, Mr. David Rodriguez, and Paul Davis. He is the manager at McLean's.
thank you for coming.
So hopefully they can answer questions that you have, but and then Serena Lemieux, she is here as to speak on her behalf as well. I do have a couple pictures for you guys, or actually one video. Moving away. Start down the bottom, actually. You get my good narration on some of these. So that's the entrance to McLean's. Those are all the trucks that backed up. If you just go to the next one.
Probably not gonna try to share this because it's gonna get-
That's just, I don't think that's a video, that's just a picture. But that's going westbound on Maple Street.
So they're stopped?
Yeah.
Huh.
This is also going westbound. I'm in the eastbound lane, getting around traffic.
And again, they're stopped.
Yep. What am I narrating?
We have to deal with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trucks. They slide up Middle Maple Street.
Also facing westbound. The majority of them come westbound just because of 89. You do have some that come off of 202. I think there's 1 or 2 of the pictures that have them in both lanes. That's tough to see. But it's all trucks. I think I'm on Cressy Brook Road right now.
Yeah, that was covered.
Oh, Duffy's Road.
And then the last 3, I think, Lieutenant O'Connor took just last Thursday, I want to say.
Are there trucks in both lanes stopped in this photo, or is there a truck, like is?
There's another, go to the next photo, I don't know. I think it was both lanes. Yeah,
And are, to the best of your knowledge, are both trucks stopped? Like,
Yes,
so
yeah.
no one could get through there then on Maple Street?
correct, unless they went around them or something. But, and then, like I said, those were last Thursday, yeah. So we've been trying to work with the claims. They've done some things to try to curtail it. Whether they've been working or not, I don't know which ones are working and which ones aren't, but obviously something's still going on that we're still getting this back up. We get a lot of complaints. Mr. Rodriguez and I have been going to meetings and stuff like that. We've probably been doing this maybe 2 years.
Since September of 2022.
So a little longer than I thought. So yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay. Have you all discussed any possible paths forward?
Mr. Davis, like I said, you know, he had mentioned that they were giving them different time frames to come in. They were limiting them. If they came in too early or too late, they get sanctioned. They added another guard at the guard check to try to get them in more quickly. So he has done some steps to try to curtail it, but unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like it's working as well as I would like it anyway. So, and I know with it being a state road but yet governed by us, I don't know what all our options might be. Mr. Rodriguez might have a little bit more insight.
Could you come up and chat with us about DOT's perspective? Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you. My name's David Rodriguez. I'm the Commissioner of Department of Transportation. The Commissioner would not typically come out to talk to you about something like this, but I've been dealing with this since before I was Commissioner as Director of Operations, working with McLean's. So McLean's a very successful business. They're doing a great job. They're a great employer. We welcome them, and I'm sure the town welcomes them as well. But as a business grows, like McLean's has grown, and as they've developed and changed, they've made some operational changes that have created a real traffic concern. We've worked with them, as I said, since September of 2022. We've had meetings on site with them. And McLean's in a good faith effort, and I really
Appreciate Mr. Davis being here tonight to represent them as well and talk about what they've done. But at the end of the day, what they've done is made what we would call operational changes. So they are trying to improve their scheduling. They're trying to improve what works at their guard shack. But essentially, what creates the delay and the backup is a gate that they have placed over the years with storage for about one truck until all the other arriving trucks start to queue up on the roadway. Any business that does that across the state, first of all, we do not appreciate that gate that stops trucks without this, what we would call the storage length, and the business tolerating the trucks backing up on the state roadway. We've communicated that, and I am sure there are a lot of reasons for their operations that they have to have a gate and they have to stop the trucks to inspect it. But it's really their responsibility to go beyond the operational changes and create some infrastructure changes so that they can queue those trucks on their own property before the check-in gate so that they don't back up onto the state road. And that is really their responsibility. And over the years working with them, again, we respect them as a great business that brings a lot of benefit, but we really need them to step up and make whatever infrastructure changes that they need to make, whatever circulation changes they need to make on their property, but most importantly, relocate that gate and provide the storage so those trucks that are going to their facility can queue on their property, not on the state road, not on the side of the state road, not within the state right of way, but on their property. That's their responsibility as a business owner. And what we've seen over the years, despite their best effort with these operational changes, they simply don't work over the long term. Whether it's their volume of trucks that come in and out that changes seasonally. For instance, I learned that years ago that Halloween's a very busy time for them. They get a lot of candy coming in, a lot of candy going out, extra trucks. So we would see a spurt then. But it's really their responsibility to make some infrastructure changes so that they can queue those trucks on their property outside of the state road and the state right of way. I'm glad. Thank you for having me here tonight and having us here tonight. I'm sure Mr. Davis has a few things to say. But the state does not want to come to Hopkinton. We don't want to harass McLean's. We don't want to get on them. But I think together we can send the message that it is time for them to make those infrastructure changes to get the vehicles off the road. Being the state DOT, we deal with this occasionally with Dunkin' Donuts that build and get much more successful than they thought, and they need to make operational changes to get the vehicles off the roads, and they do. We have a truck stop in Greenland, again, wildly successful, trucks backing up, queuing through the intersections. As soon as the corporate attorneys heard of the liability that they were creating there, they stepped up and made some changes to relieve that traffic. The DOT can't make the changes out there. The town of Hopkinton can't make the changes out there. We need McLean's to work with us and make those changes.
It's helpful.
Thank you, sir.
Quick question on when you've had to deal with this as the DOT with like Duncan, for example. I mean, what did you just work with the business people to?
Yes, we work with the business people. So businesses are required to get a driveway permit from us, which gives us that regulatory responsibility in this case. Working for the DOT, being a regulator is my least favorite part of the job, but it is a responsibility that we have at the end of the day. So we use that driveway permit. We use the people who are involved. We just have not been able to keep McLean's attention. People change, and I do think they step up and they work very hard to make the operational changes that gives them a false sense that they've fixed it and they can handle it. And it takes one guard calling in sick or one extra, busy part of the year with the trucks coming, and things begin to fall apart again.
So in an ideal world, would you expect McLean to propose infrastructure changes that you would then say good, bad, yes, no?
Yes. So the typical process when a business wants to make improvements on a driveway to a state road, whatever they do on their property to improve things, they can go ahead and do without any communication with us. And we think there is some things that they can do here to improve things on their own property. They certainly have challenges. They have it's a big lot, but in essence, for what they're trying to do on that lot, it is very small and it's constrained. But they can hire the engineers. They can hire their designers. It all starts with counting your trucks. How many trucks do you have coming in? What time of day? What's your peak hour for trucks? How much storage do you need to accommodate that many trucks? And then you work within your property to accommodate them. So they can do all of those things on their own. Because we know that they're struggling, we're willing to work with them in any way. We did have a meeting there 2.5 to 3 years ago. We brought plans and other things, and I have a letter from them. They talked about starting with the operational improvements, but the next thing they were looking at moving right into was some of those longer term infrastructure improvements. But again, I think they thought they had solved the problem, when really what we see time and time again is the operational problems fall apart. So we're willing to work with them if they need to extend and do work beyond their property into the DOT right of way, or change their driveway circulation to make things work better. We're willing to listen to their proposals from their engineers, ideally traffic engineers who know how to solve the problem.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Would the person from McLean like to come chat with us? We're very nice.
No, that's all right. I do the best I can.
Chief.
Paul Davis with McLean. So I transferred up here about a year ago. So this conversation was fairly new to me, even though it was brought up early on as hey, something to look for and look out for. Spoke with Mr. Rodriguez for the first time last week. So there has been a lot of changes. Some of those pictures and videos are from 2023 and 2024. Exactly, I believe some of them probably are recently, but there are definitely some of those, the longer ones and the bad ones. I say bad ones, none of them are good, are from prior. I'd like to say it's gotten better, but that's me outside looking in. What I will say is, yes, it's there. We recognize it. There is an opportunity that we're looking at working on. There was a scheduling conflict that we found out prior to my notice, to where a lot of stuff was coming in at the same time. Since that was changed and broken up, so there were times allotted for specific schedules at 5 PM, at 7 PM, at 9 PM to help break that apart, which has been in place and still in place today. With that, we have added 2 guards, 2 people there to look at it. During peak hours from about 4 to 9, there's some overflows. So there's additional support there. That is operational. There are some things that are there any given day, human nature, right? People call out and it's happened. So trying to find an ability to make it more stable, within reason, and how we can accommodate that, as a whole. So, modifying the schedule, what I can't control, and I think we'd like to all agree with this, is even with a schedule and we have confirmed times, a carrier truck driver coming from Florida, California, Texas, Illinois, anywhere, sometimes they show up when they show up. And even though I have a schedule for 3 trucks to come in between 6 and 7 and to have them staggered out, when 6 of them show up at the same time, I can't control all of that. Now, how can I get it expedited? I think that's part of the question and the ease. So how can we try to get that in quicker and minimize that backup on there? So that's the question. That's the opportunity. I honestly, coming into it was just coming to the board, talk about what we have. Wasn't real sure what to expect today and what I'll have to present. Not a lot. So there are things that we're talking about. I've had a couple of conversations with my corporate office just in the past week about getting some people out and opportunities and looking at what's changed in today's world in 26 and laws and passes and what have you versus what was going on in 23 and 24. So see what opportunities we may have now that we didn't have before, or vice versa. See what those opportunities are and see where we can work to some sort of agreement and manage that traffic flow within a reason, right? The drivers parked on the side of the road and doing some of their, I can't control that, but coming in and out of the gate, that's the opportunity that I have, not somewhere else, unfortunately.
If they're parked on the side of the road because they're waiting for the gate, is there another place you can put them that isn't the road for their waiting spot?
Well, and I say that just by, I guess, by verbiage, right? American language is a crazy thing sometimes how we say it. I saw one, I don't know, it was a month or so ago, parked there on the side of the road in the middle of the day, sleeping in the back. He was not waiting. He just was parked right there on Maple Street, half on, half off. So I was back there banging on his door, trying to wake him up, saying, you can't be here, you got to move on. So there's that opportunity. We do have right there at the guard gate where they come in, which we have to have the guard gate because of food safety and defense and product coming out to all the restaurants and convenience stores and snack stores and every place else. We have to have some sort of obligation to that. Lost my train of thought. But so at the guard gate, we do have a couple maps and with written and picture descriptions to one, the truck stop in Bow, and then the one up on 93 at the main ones to get them in and out. And if they're not there for deployment, get them turned around to go someplace else as quickly as long as we can't get them in, to the building.
And I guess what I'm just wondering is there space for the waiting line that's outside of the gate to be on property versus off property?
If I understand you, I'm gonna go with no, because I don't have property outside of the gate.
Can you move the gate back to create property?
That's all stuff to be evaluated with engineers based off the description of where it is. I don't know that we can, simply because of when that moves, it creates space here and then takes away space somewhere else for coming through the gate and staging somewhere else, getting people till you can get them into the door or the next place, or backing them up, and now inhibit space for trucks to move around inside the property to get in and out. You can't move a 53-foot trailer around pretty lightly.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for what you guys do, and I appreciate that you have a home base in Hopkinton. And I have a small business right down the road. And I think if I stuck the line for my small business outside my door
Mhm.
and blocked the sidewalk, all of my neighbors would be pissed at me.
Mhm.
And so I'm just thinking about it in those very simplistic terms of I have to create space inside of my business for the lines at my registers. I can't stick them outside my business, even if I have my own reasons for it, because it would block the flow of the sidewalk and it would be unfair to the fellow businesses around me. And I'm mindful of the school buses that go up and down Maple Street, and I'm mindful that it's not a very wide street. And so I would implore you to continue to think about where else can they go? Because having them accidentally, for all like completely legitimate reasons, have that be the only option, it's gonna end in an accident and it's gonna end with someone really hurt. And I don't want to get there.
Like Mr. Rodriguez said, I believe the only thing that's gonna change is to move the guard shack. You gotta have more room for trucks to stage. If they, and I'm not saying this is, you're able to do this, but if you made like a road through all the way to the back and you could put 10 trucks in there, I don't think you'd ever back up onto the road again, because if you could fit 10, I've never seen lately more than 10 trucks lined up, so if you move that guard shack and you give more room for them to queue, then I think that's going to be the only way you're going to make a difference. I don't know, Mr. Rodriguez thinks the same, but it's the gate. That's what it comes down to, minus.
So do you have engineers looking at that possibility?
Again, it's just talking to Mr. Root for the first time last week. We've talked a little bit about some of the conversation, through the past several months, bringing that up again. So I've just spoken with some of my corporate leadership team, and we have people on site coming out. Actually, we have one of our engineer people coming on site here in the next few weeks for another project, and that's part of the plan, is to bring it up to them while they're here and show them. Actually, we already talked about it and send them emails on it, so they're aware of it. It's a matter of getting on site to pictures don't do it justice when you see 3D and you see everything else there and what's going on with it. So there's conversation, there's opportunity. Nothing I can speak to today.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
could commit though today
Commit to what?
to hiring a traffic engineer to look into making a storage lane that would have the
I can.
capacity for peak hour traffic, which is I think what you suggested.
Right. We have engineers with our company. I can't commit to hiring any of them at the corporate office. I'm the manager here at this local division.
Okay, so what could you commit to do that would make us feel like we're moving the needle beyond opportunities and future possible agreements?
Again, other than continuing my conversation with my corporate officers, I don't know that I can today.
It just
I
feels like the
didn't know
safety
mine.
issue's been going on at least for years. You've been there for a year. So it just feels like you should have the ability to give me more than I will have a talk, because we've been talking for quite some time. Is there any ideas that you all have floated around internally that maybe we don't know about? That you could say, yes, we're gonna try and get a rendering so that this is what ideas we're playing around with. Could you share some ideas that you've had? People come to us and say, this is unsafe. It's our job to try and fix it. And you are very good at not committing to anything.
Well-
Now I'm trying to get you to tell me I'm gonna do more starting now.
So appreciating that you are saying that you've just started having conversations with DOT in earnest. I appreciate where Vicky's coming from. And yes, our biggest concern is safety. And I think there is some level of liability for you guys. And it is awkward because it's a state road, but it's, our police who are responding. And so I share Vicky's sort of, I don't know, passion here. And yeah, I think from our perspective, it's been going on a long time. I appreciate that, if you can't commit to something where you sit right now, I think we would appreciate just certainly a commitment that you're taking this back, talking to engineers, and I think we need to agree to like firm follow-up, because It sounds like if moving the gate or some sort of infrastructure change is really what is needed, I think we need at least a commitment that we're gonna not just do the like, oh, we're trying to deal with scheduling. I'm sure it's a nightmare, but we do need probably more than that. So I think, if we could get a firm commitment on timeline. You said some people were coming in this week or next week.
Yeah, I know, I don't remember off the top of my head because I wasn't or to speak to that aspect of it. I know I usually see them or talk with them at least every week or every other week. Not on this specific issue, but on other engineering opportunities within the building or even around the property, et cetera. So that conversation, without a doubt, will come up again to grab some new attention and additional attention on it of whoever had some of these conversations prior to and where we stand now in today's world. I understand. I'm with you. Last thing I want is continued emails, communication. But the worst part of it is if there was an incident or an accident or something going on there. I mean, that's the worst part by bar none. Understanding that. So how can we work to get to that development and somewhere in there? I mean, that's what I can commit to right now. And I can have follow up and again to say there's so-and-so's coming out, and there's additional people looking or they're drawing up plans or identifying some other options of what property, what building, what parking, what equipment, how that can be reorganized or used or understood.
You mentioned you were recently transferred here.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you dealt with a similar issue in other communities you've worked in?
Similar, yes. But in different, one avenue in Mississippi, it was a 2-lane road coming in. But the only thing on that road was a McLean, a Walmart distribution center, another distribution center. So it was all industrial and the backup across the roll. And then you looped out and went around, but there was no housing there. But you had backup there where it had to be maintained. And another one in Georgia, we had it and it would block an intersection. And so we actually had PD come out during 2 or 3 hours during peak times to help manage the intersection. The whole intersection was I don't know what you'd call it, but it would be a traffic intersection, not a private intersection on a road. So a little different vibe, I think, for that aspect. Other than that, entrance roads coming in have service roads throughout. What's the other company? Groceries.
Associated Grocers.
They got like a mile of service road. It's to their building, nothing but that back there. We don't have that capability. It'd be like having Maple Street as just coming into our place and nothing else there. That's not a viable option. There's no property there. We couldn't do it if we wanted to. With the swamplands there, we couldn't come around the backside if we wanted to.
Yeah.
If that was an option, but I don't know that one, obviously the swampland, the EPA and environmental and city and state and everything else getting into that's another deal that doesn't, I don't think anybody else would approve that one. So trying to evaluate some of those other opportunities, especially in a landlocked facility, because there's really not a whole lot of space to move or grow or bend or do something to that effect. So
I think there's land for sale across the street. Just let you know.
Yeah. For well over what it should be probably.
Sure, it could be negotiated, but
Yeah.
Do you have any other comments?
no, I would just, when looking at some of the other McLean locations, I chose Pennsylvania as one of them because they have a very nice entrance that looks like it's about a 1/4 mile long. And I don't know, working with the state, if anything could be done out front to mimic something similar to that and loop. I mean, you'd be closer to the roadway, but possibly be able to loop around your the service building off to the right. Just something to think about.
Yeah.
So maybe, our next meeting is May 26th. So I don't know if you could be the point of contact or maybe Karen, whatever, but I think we just need to make sure we're all holding each other accountable in this because it sounds like DOT is willing to get as creative as they can with you guys. Obviously, we don't want to go to the place of like, they control your driveway permit. You know, we've had a good working relationship with McLean for a long time, so we don't want to go there, but like, I think we have serious safety concerns and that's our number one priority. So, I don't know what the schedule is with the people coming from corporate or the engineers or whatever, but perhaps we could agree that at our next meeting, we could at least get some sort of update and it'd be helpful to know if, you know, you guys are working with DOT, that would be great for us to know. And, so could we get that commitment from you that we could have an update at our next meeting?
Sure, there'll be an update of some sort.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there anything the town can offer to facilitate this or?
I at this point, I don't know, not to my knowledge, for my control, anything right there at the gate, down the road or what have you. I mean, it's kind of for those guys and up to that point, but not to my knowledge. Again, I think kind of the example I had before was at a live intersection. It was one thing to help manage and control that within reason. For a private intersection, I don't know that even to manage it, there's I won't say there's nothing to manage. It's the process of getting the truck through the area, because otherwise they'd be stopping traffic in the road anyway.
Yeah,
Trying to find the right avenue.
my concern is one resident I spoke to said it's going to be the town, McLean and DOT who get sued when something happens.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm coming from.
Mhm.
Let's not have that happen.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I think some people are here to talk on this issue, so I don't know, I'm happy to move up public comment to right now, and if people want to comment or have questions, feel free to come up. Thank you, and thank you to the DOT
Thank you for
for.
being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Thank you, sir.
You want to come up?
Thank you, too.
Mr. Davis, could you stay for one moment? Fantastic. Hi, my name's Serena Lemieux, and I actually live on Maple Street down by Rowell Bridge, so I deal with this issue frequently. And I have called dispatch a couple times. However, I finally reached out to the chief and to Karen when I almost got hit head on. The videos you saw with all the traffic, it was one truck.
It's just.
It was one truck in the roadway and another pickup truck that was passing it that almost hit me head on. So it doesn't have to be 10, 12, 15 trucks. It was one truck. So the point of those were taken a few years ago, I take exception to that. It only takes one truck being in that roadway to cause a collision.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but you're saying somebody was going around an idling truck as you were in your lane and came into your lane. Okay, understood.
They were parked in the roadway, and I actually sent the chief and Karen a picture because I pulled over and rolled down my window and took a picture. They were legit in the eastbound lane.
Okay.
I was coming westbound to go home, and a pickup truck was passing that truck in the eastbound lane. And because of that little curve there, it's a no passing zone for a reason because of the curve, which makes it unsafe. And I almost got hit head on with one truck in the roadway, not 10 or 12. So my question after hearing the discussion is, I know there's going to be follow-up on the 26th, but I would like maybe on the 26th, depending on what happens, a more concrete answer as to how much flexibility and how more time we're going to let this situation play out. I was a little hearing that it's been going on discussions since 2022 as a citizen did not make me feel all warm and cozy. Because someone is going to sue the town, the state, and McLean. And I was the resident that said that because that will happen. especially if there's a fatality on that road. It's not just an accident, it's a fatality that's going to happen. So my question is, in the interim, would the town consider and would the police department consider putting a detail officer out there during the busy times? GE had to do it on a state road in Hooksett per Chief Bartlett because of employees trying to get out of GE on 3A. It was creating all kinds of hazards. So they now have a detail officer there every day. So it can be done on a state road with a local police department and a business who is causing the congestion. Because we are forced to pass. And one of those videos, I had called probably a couple months ago where you had a truck eastbound and westbound stopped in the road. So there is passing going on, but at least if there's a detail officer out there, there's safe passing going on because there's someone that is telling eastbound to go with westbound stopped, westbound to go till eastbound. I think it's a Band-Aid. This needs to be resolved, but we need to do something in the interim because it's not fair to those of us that live on the road and that might die on that road. And I have a son. So I'm not passing with him in the car, so I'm waiting 10 or 15 minutes to get around. Or he's going to be without a mother because I get hit head on. And I'm sure there's other people who have had similar experiences because I'm not the only one on that road.
Yeah.
So I would beg you to figure this out sooner rather than later because I don't feel very faithful that it's a priority for McLean based on what I heard tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. And just on the timeline, I think this is the first time in my 9 years on the board that we've actually discussed this as a board, because I think in the past few years, it was sort of taken care of between police and potentially DOT and McLean. And I think things maybe got better. So I'm just appreciating that this is really the first time we've discussed it in earnest, in part because I think this is the first time it's like risen to this level, but very much appreciate your comments. Lauren, come on up.
Evening again, Lauren Clement, 86 Maple Street. I guess I would like to echo what the previous speaker said. I generally am working out of Henniker and come home 4:30, 5 o'clock and have run into this numerous times over the course of, I don't know, last 12, 15 years. I've seen cars waiting for a tractor trailer that's parked sitting in the road, and then maybe a vehicle come up behind that car that's sitting there and decide to go around. One car goes around. It gets very crazy there. I know I've had my landscape trailer behind my truck, and I don't want to go around the tractor trailers. And often it's not just on occasion that sometimes there are trucks on either side and you can't go anywhere, and it's quite dangerous. I've seen motorcycles do some crazy stuff through there, and I would echo the concern that this has been ongoing too long, and it's amazing that someone hasn't got in a major accident right there. So just want to add some 2 cents to it.
Thank you. Anybody online?
I'm not saying anything.
I was wondering, I actually was thinking about the detail question. Seems like that would be quite a burden for our police department, but I don't know if it's something to consider. Have you guys directed traffic there before?
No, we had it all in directed traffic. Mainly it's what we used to do is get the trucks off the road. We tell the guard, get open the gate and just get them in off the road. So that's worked. And then they had them queue up further in the parking lot. Other than that, yeah, it was just getting the trucks out of the road, making it clear for people to go. So.
As part of the problem, I think, as you mentioned it when we talked about this earlier, these are contracted, or these are not employees of McLean. So there's little that McLean can actually dictate other than giving them a place to park. Correct?
You talking about the trucks or the people in the?
guys driving the trucks. I mean, you know, if you, because you had mentioned, we could take it away till we're blue in the face and it's not gonna solve the problem.
Right. You have trucks coming from all over the country. It's not the same trucks. So even if we were to enforce something, the next crew coming in, they don't have any idea, you know, if it was the same truck drivers and we could say, hey, listen, we're gonna cite you every time this happens, then that might work, but it's new tractors, new drivers, and we can fine everybody for stopping, standing, parking in the roadway, but then the next group's gonna come in and they're not gonna have any idea, and so enforcement really is not the answer.
But couldn't enforcement help bring in revenues to offset putting a detail there?
We don't get revenue from tickets.
Lane.
What's that?
No.
That all goes to the state, actually, so we wouldn't see any type of revenue from that.
Because I think the request I was hearing was not to ticket, not to, though obviously as needed, please do.
Right.
But rather to direct traffic, to say, if the cars are there, can someone please be the person directing through the myriad of vehicles there? And I'm hearing you say in the past, the solution has been get the gate open, get them in. And I'm wondering if there are peak times or peak days where it makes sense to commit someone to that area.
If I recall correctly, it's typically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right in that time frame, probably from like 6 to 8 p.m. Although the pictures that you saw from Lieutenant O'Connor, those were during the day. So you get it during the day every so often too, but for the most time, it seemed to be those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from about 6 to 8. So.
I think we would want to have a conversation about who absorbs that cost.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that was the follow-up question.
I'd be
but-
filling McLean's.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
I mean, if you're treating it as an event, but otherwise you'd have to make sure we have the right and the ability to. So I'm a little bit at a loss as to what we are entitled to do in this moment, like what we are empowered to do to keep that area safe while there is ongoing exploration and conversation.
What would happen, Chief, if you told them to move along? Are there no parking signs there?
There are no parking signs along there, so anytime we do see them, we move them along. The issue is they're coming from out of town. They don't know the layout of the land. If you've ever tried to turn a tractor trailer truck around, it's not very easy whatsoever. So they got to pre-plan where they're going. So if they go past McLean's, they don't know where they're going. They don't know if they're going to be able to turn around in a mile or 10 miles. So they stop in front, you know. I can shoo them along. What they're going to ask at that point is, where can I go, you know? And I don't know of any place past McLean's that you can really get a tractor trailer truck turned around unless you go all the way up to 202. So
can't we tell them to go all the way up to 202?
Got a brand new roundabout up there.
yeah.
Yeah, I hear you, but I'm also wondering, like, I feel like we're accidentally creating more barriers than we need. Fine, let's tell them, you go to 202 and you turn around there, that'll buy you X amount of time until you can get in, right? Like.
And we typically do, we'll tell them, go down to the Bow Junction where the truck stop is and stuff like that. We'll give them directions to that. But again, it's not really going to solve the issue because the next.
100%. This is not the
Yeah,
solution.
yeah.
This is what we do in the meantime while we're working on the solution.
Yeah.
I don't view this, like, if we're doing this a year from now, then we've messed up somewhere. But I'm saying is we have a resident who is saying, do something, here's what another town has done. And obviously we want to work with the DOT and with McLean to come up with a long-term solution. But then short-term, what levers do we have to pull, even though I know it feels like Groundhog Day every day because it's a different batch of people. So it's not about training anyone. Right. It's not even about changing habits. It's about managing the issue in the current moment until such a time as there is an infrastructure change and we don't have to do it anymore. That's where I'm at. But I also know that takes people power And that takes money and someone has to pay for it and someone has to work it. And that's the part where I start to say this is out of my depth because I don't run the scheduling and I don't know how much it would cost us. And
I mean, I guess short term, like in the next 2 weeks, while we wait for an update. Can we, can we try to patrol it more? Or-
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can get a cruiser up there during those times. We rely on the public to tell us, when it's happening so that we can go up and curtail it. And I encourage people, anytime they give a complaint, I'm like, just call when it happens. That way we can go out there and deal with it and document it. But no, we can definitely make sure.
And I'm also just wondering, do you have a sense that in general, Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursdays around a certain time is, if it's possible to put it into the daily agenda for each person working that shift to be like, hey, our expectation is that during this time frame, you're gonna be keeping a closer eye on this area on these 3 days. Because yes, people should absolutely call. But if they're calling, it may also be too late. So I'm wondering like what we proactively are doing during the times that we are aware it is most likely to happen.
As long as it's not an emergency call, I can have a cruiser up there.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
like an emergency call comes first.
Yeah.
But thank you.
We can do that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. And hopefully, I mean, there's really not much we can do beyond putting a Band-Aid on it. So hopefully the urgency is going to be relayed to others at McLean. So I hope that came through tonight. And appreciate the DOT being here, and we will be in close touch because you hold the one and only bit of leverage there is. We don't want to go there if we can avoid it.
Okay.
Okay, well, unless you have any other thoughts on this.
No, just, like I said, I think the biggest thing is that the shack,
Yeah,
gate, if that's.
Yeah.
If I don't remember, do you know what year that was put in? It wasn't there when I first started here. We never had issues. And then obviously once it got built, that's when we started having issues. So that's gonna be the straw that broke the camel's back, so.
yeah. Yeah, and if it's a, convenience issue for McLean, it's like too bad because it's a safety issue for us, so.
Well, I think they would also argue that they have to be checking the trucks and that's why the gate is there. And so I'm not arguing that they need a gate. I'm just arguing where the gate is placed.
And they alone control the logistics on this, so.
So in the meantime, we'll have a cruiser up there during those hours, so we can hopefully make it safe for people to get through. And we'll wait for an update from Mr. Davis to find out where they're gonna go from there, and are you gonna get it to me and then I can get it to the board, or?
Based off timing, I'll let you know if I can show up again for that, whatever that date was, 22nd,
Tuesday, 26th.
26th. If I can make it on that time, I'll try to make it in. If I can't, I'll at least relay it. So share some knowledge and information.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time and your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for people who came to comment on this. Okay, so that is it for public appointments. We have a few more things under old business. Why don't we try to get through those and then we'll
Yep.
do public comment. So next up was approving the lieutenant job description.
And that had, the bottom line, the last line in there, it was yellowed out on the last version we looked at, added the correct hourly rate.
That was the only major change since the last.
Yeah, this is the only change.
Yeah, okay, then.
That was the point that we were wobbling on.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Do you need us to officially approve this or just?
No, actually, yes, I do. And then I will come back with a one where you actually sign off on it. I noticed that our last 3 didn't have the signature page on it either, so. Board should sign off on that.
Okay. So you need a motion?
Yes, please.
I move to approve the police lieutenant job description. As revised and as revised dated April 20th, 2026.
Actually, there's one more recent, I think.
Oh, okay, sorry, I'm reading it at the bottom, the footer.
Oh, yeah, sorry, no, that didn't get updated. It's the file had in today's extension, so.
I'm sorry, as revised as of May 11th, 2026.
Second.
Great, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
It's unanimous. Okay, next is the process for appointing committees policy. There's the one in here, the one that I sent you that had my edits that were very messy. But I think there's all sorts of like ugly formatting issues, but I just wanted to get the conceptual update to you all. I mean, basically, I pulled some provisions from a sample that had far more detail than we did and just cut and pasted them in here with the idea that we would go through and revise further as needed. So I put more in, but I just thought it was helpful to have a little more clarity on the process because our existing policy was pretty general. So I don't think we need to, fully land on this tonight, but I think I looked at, because my like goals duty was to look at policies and I did do that. But I think this is the one that is most urgent in terms of getting it revised and finalized. A lot of our policies are from like the 90s and have not been updated since then. So I think there's some consolidation that could happen. We had like 3 different winter plow policies and like parking and so definitely some more work to be done on that. But I just wanted to get this over to you guys so we could keep this one moving along more quickly.
What to you are the biggest high level changes or additions between our current policy and this one?
There's a little more detail on expectations once people are in, like you can't miss, let's see, there's a line about like if members miss more than 20% or 6 excused absences, they should not be considered for reappointment. We don't have anything like that currently. And that might be something we don't think we need. It's just, I thought that would be helpful to spell out. There's something in here around attitude that people are expected to be civil. I'm not sure that's actually a problem, but just again, like more details. And then, in terms of the, maybe I didn't put that in. There was something around like this other sample we had, the way the town put it out there was different. I think the way we do it, which is recommendations from the select board, recommendations from the committee and public posting. I think that still makes sense. So, and then there's this optional interview process, which I don't think we had previously.
So rather than necessarily workshopping it in committee, is it okay if we sit with it and read it and send our comments to Karen for consolidation before the next meeting?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could accidentally spend 60 minutes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just wanted to get this in
Thank
front of you
you.
guys to float it.
Can I just make a general comment? It's interesting that we, it says, we're having some expectations. I think that's really, it's a great thing to add in here. But having read a lot of different bylaws recently, there's always a removal clause and there's no removal clause in here that I can see.
True, we could add that.
So
Yeah.
you could just let that marinate, but there's a lot of should not be considered for reappointment, which we could probably throw another half sentence in there and, maybe consider for removal or something along those lines. We don't have to put it in. I just thought I would point it out. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do know that we do have several openings on committees and that we have received several applications. And while we are actively reviewing this in order to not hamper the work of these committees, I would like us to still consider the applications that have come in while we continue working on this.
Mhm.
In which case, I think Karen might have them.
I might. And I'm gonna butcher names here. Jamie Frideres
Housing committee.
has expressed interest in the housing committee. Yes.
And this
Did
is
we see
one
the
I
application?
chair recommended this person, I think, or somebody on the committee did maybe.
I don't know that he actually, our application doesn't really speak to recommendations.
I see. Okay.
I think that he definitely responded with an application to some encouragement from, I assume the housing committee chair or housing committee members.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Abram. Sorry.
This person seems super qualified.
Yeah.
There are also applications from Steve Rothenberg and Joyce Bennett.
Steve, for which committee?
Steve is interested in either cemetery or trustee of the trust funds,
Mm-hmm.
which I noted earlier, we have vacancies on both.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to propose that after we've each had a chance to read all three of them, we can go through each of them, and if there are no concerns, vote. And when I say concern, I mean no further questions, no follow-up, no clarification, because it could be a clarification such as, do you have a strong preference on one of these, or why both? Like, it doesn't have to be, when I say concern, it's not necessarily a negative thing, it might just be a point of clarification. And if there's any that we can move to a point tonight, I would encourage that we do. And Karen, for our reappointments, will we do that at the next meeting?
I've actually got two more that have responded. Tricia Moran has indicated that she is willing to continue on the housing committee, would love to do that. And I mentioned earlier, Amanda Gilman is not able to continue on economic development. So those would go into the pile with the maybe a dozen that we talked about last time.
And I'm mindful that when we have our time to go through the reappointments, that I wouldn't want to do it in a blanket, like all up, all down, but rather have a chance to go through each of them.
Do you want to push that to non-public?
I have
mean,
no
you could-
concerns. I'm just making sure to lay the ground that it's not a consent agenda item. It is always a
Right.
worthy conversation to make sure that we haven't just pushed through reappointments without consideration.
And it's helpful when we recognize the sort of recommendation, the names on the back. It's helpful.
Yep.
I know two of the three of these, they seem like they would all be good options for these committees. And the person I don't know, I recognize at least one of the recommendation.
So what I would love to do is start making some motions and then leave it open for discussion one by one in the event. You guys go with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I move that we appoint Jamie Federers to the Housing Committee for a 3-year term, effective beginning 2026.
Second.
open it to discussion.
Yeah, and he seems very qualified.
Very qualified.
Yeah.
I believe you call the votes, Ms. Chair.
Oh, yes. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's 4-0 for Jamie. Housing Committee.
I'm going to do Joyce Bennett's next, as Steve has 2 listed. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Human
move,
Services Committee.
yeah, I move that we appoint Joyce H. Bennett to the Human Services Advisory Committee for a 3-year term beginning in 2026.
Okay. Seems committed to volunteering.
Yeah, no, I've learned her background information feels like a really great fit for this and a deep desire to volunteer with her community.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye. I'm not sure how to do Steve's, as he wrote 2 down.
Right. Could he be on both?
No.
I mean, theoretically, yes.
Yes.
We could use a person on both? The trust.
Both cemetery and trustees?
Yes.
Yes. I forgot about
So
that.
perhaps
But
we could
this
ask
says list in order of preference if
So-
interested in more than one. And so I'm
So we-
mindful that he may not have been saying he wanted both. Now, it's fun to appoint someone to 2 committees when they only wanted one,
I
but
just talked to the charitable trust unit or attorney general's office or somebody 3 years ago, so.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's changed.
it is listed in order of things you're most interested in. So may I propose that we appoint him to his first choice and follow up with him to see if he was interested in both, or if he was just listening to in the event one was full.
I support that.
Okay, great. Again, really fun to get him on 2 without him knowing, but that doesn't feel bad. Okay, I move that we appoint Steve Rothenberg to the trustee of the trust funds for a 3-year term, or 1-year term, because this is an elected position, right? Trustee of the
To
trust
serve
fund?
until the next election.
Thank you. So I move that we
Nice.
appoint Steve Rothenberg to serve on the trustee of the trust funds until the next election in 2027.
Second.
Okay. I have no concerns about him. Anyone else? Okay. I appreciate these people stepping up to volunteer.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so all is in favor.
Steve, Joyce, and
Aye.
Jamie. Aye.
That's
And
4-0.
then as a next step, we will follow up with him
See if
and
he
come
wants to
back
do-
to cemetery trustee if he is interested in serving on both.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you all. Whoop, whoop, I'll run away.
And I think just generally on the policy, like the idea isn't to have some like, over the top vetting policy, but I know in the past people have had concerns because we sometimes would just like reappoint without consulting, the chair or whatever. And so hopefully a new policy would give a little more meat to the process, but again, not be like, an impediment to people trying to volunteer.
In the document I was glancing over, I think it also provides a level of expectation to folks when they sign up.
Yeah.
And I think that can often, there isn't a ton out there to say, here's
Yes.
what to expect, but when
That's right.
there's that, it gives you a sense of what you're committing to.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so at the next meeting, let's try to finalize that appointment committee policy.
And then run it by committees,
And then what?
or run it by the committee chairs. I think we had,
Oh,
didn't we talk about that?
that's a good
Just,
idea.
just say, hey, this is,
Yeah.
we've
Okay.
revamped this is where we're headed.
We'll have thoughts. We are open to them.
Yep.
Okay.
And so we should look it over and send feedback to Karen before the next meeting.
I think that'd be helpful.
Would it be too soon to send them the draft you've already created? To say-
Yes.
And it's,
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'm just-
I've
No,
kind
it's a good idea.
kind one.
Yeah, it was like, I just like put it right in. The font was driving me nuts, but I didn't have time to do
No,
it.
I know,
so
right, I
No,
wasn't.
but the font is great because you can tell ours and
That's true.
theirs.
Didn't
Yeah,
read
that's
like
helpful.
Give feedback on the font. I
The
promise.
formatting was driving me insane and I was like, I have to move on. Okay, but that does need to be fixed. So next up under old business is town meeting debrief.
So from town meeting, we had the survey results are in your drive. We had talked about continuing to do some pulse surveys to gauge the public's interest, feedback on any number of items. So that's one question.
Horseshoes.
you know, I guess, distilling Beverly's comments on,
Yeah, this is
No, the town
Beverly's
meeting.
report.
yep, this is, yeah, she created the pulse survey, distilled the comments. I don't think there's anything really surprising there. It was kind of nice affirmation of, okay, we kind of know what we know.
Could you remind me for the barriers, was it a multi-select or a single select?
I don't remember. I think,
I know I could
Doesn't
add it
say
up
on
and
here.
be like, does it add up to 100? And then if it does, then it was, but at 2, 4, 6, 8, no, this does not add up to 100, so it must have been a multi-select. Right?
took it so long ago. As a test, I'm not a resident.
Okay.
Yeah, it had to be multi.
Okay, for those of you who can't see what we're seeing, 117 people took the survey. And they were asked about barriers to coming to town meeting. The most popular answer was, well, no barriers, but then work. And then,
Wait, where do you see work?
um,
I see too long. Day inconvenient. Where's work?
I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that.
Oh, it's okay. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something.
Maybe I read family and childcare and my brain said work.
Fair, that's fair. But no barriers is the top choice.
No
and
barriers
then
followed by
next
too long.
long.
And then
Although it
the
was
time
pretty
and
short
date.
this year. Day
Not as many people came each year. They wouldn't know how short it was.
I'm looking
How
at
much
her
fun it was this year.
survey memo, and day inconvenient and time inconvenient are tied,
Yeah.
Mhm.
26.
Yeah, but then interestingly, when you do the
Surprising.
time, the day and time preference, 19% have no preference. And then the winner is weeknight at 6 PM with 41%, but a very close second is weekend morning at 38%. So,
Just kind of what we guessed when going into this was
The split.
it's gonna be a split because different schedules,
yeah.
different people have different schedules.
So we have town meeting twice and then we aggregate the results. Joking, that's not.
But also the highest number under satisfaction was very satisfied. Second highest was not satisfied, but then
Another split.
third was satisfied. I mean, it's a good mix. It's you got to take the wins where you can, 30% very satisfied. No, but all joking aside, this is helpful because, this is a conversation we have every year. And our goal is to make it easier for people to attend and to increase attendance. There's so many variables though, because I will note that on years when we have something people find interesting or perhaps controversial, they tend to show up in higher
Yeah.
numbers. Whereas this year we had kind of a quiet agenda compared to some past years. And so that might explain, the slightly lower, although it wasn't that much lower, in terms of total attendance, I don't think. So, but I do think this is helpful insight, and to the extent we can get more people to respond, obviously that's even more helpful.
Interestingly, one of Beverly's, the future topic ideas in the memo she wrote, volunteer interest survey.
Mm-hmm.
Gauging interest, identifying barriers, and exploring how the town can facilitate interest in serving on boards and committees.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be something that we maybe could do for a second one?
Yeah.
Yes.
So does she who develops the questions? Do you?
Beverly usually pulls a bunch of questions together,
Mhm.
and then she and I sit down and go through them. Sometimes ChatGPT helps us with,
Okay. Yeah, because I think
Different topics.
for like public art / the horseshoes, we probably might need to work on questions.
and we're happy to share the questions with you guys too,
Yeah.
get your feedback. I think we did do that before with this one.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the surveys or?
I just appreciate everyone who filled it out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comments to read through, so I guess I should stop and I'll read them later, but thank you for taking the time.
The other follow-up from town meeting were, you talked about department visits and scheduling those.
Yes. I would like to do those. But I am one person.
Oh, I do too.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So move forward with trying to schedule them?
Yes,
We did them on Friday mornings,
Yeah,
I
I think
think
that's right.
last time.
Friday or Wednesday. I think they were Wednesday.
We had 2 different days going because there was
Okay.
a week that we did bingo and we had 5 meetings in
That's right.
5 days. And 2 of them were department visits.
So maybe one a week, one every other week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, I mean,
Okay.
I don't want to
Why don't we attempt?
make your lives crazy.
But I feel like just getting them done sooner than later, in a good way. I don't mean to be like, good, I'm done, but I mean like, it could drag out for
Have
6
this
months
conversation.
or, so I would rather
Why
cluster
don't we
them.
attempt weekly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. Next and final thing on old business is the Comcast franchise renewal. This was something that came up and I think Jeff wanted to see a red line.
Jeff wanted to see a red line, yeah, which.
And where is he right now?
Which Jeff?
Already?
Well, I would ask the same thing anyway, because I think I was here for the last one. What are the changes? She mentions in the email that there are minor changes, but
And that's what
What are
he
those?
wanted, and she was not able to redline the PDF version of it, and the formatting is not the best.
Oh,
But there's the marked up draft, right?
There's the marked up draft.
oh yeah, okay.
Which I think,
Hmm.
why is it not marked?
They changed Board of Selectmen to Select Board.
It's a good edit.
Oh
So I
boy,
see
I
one-
can't, a lot of this stuff is very clearly telecommunications legal jargon, which I have no way of interpreting.
May I ask, what is our concern? Is our concern that we're gonna get ripped off? Is our concern?
That's seemed to be, Jeff wanted specifics on what had changed.
So it looks like they did one change under. Okay,
Man, I see.
subscribers per aerial mile. They added language there. I mean, but the thing is, like, we're not gonna be able to negotiate this, you know. They took out under service interruptions. Something about franchisees on request,
yeah, that's how they credit.
credit or rebate. They took out on a daily basis, something, a lot of details there. But I mean, this is like, we accept it or we don't.
Okay.
We're not negotiating, like Comcast is not gonna, it's like, yeah. I don't, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think they're gonna be looking to negotiate with us.
No,
I think the only thing we ever negotiated was any of the free locations that the town owned, but unless they removed any of that.
I don't, not since I've been here.
Well, it would be, it's usually spelled out in here, what's included. Yeah, okay, public buildings, those are courtesy drops,
It's the
so.
document they used with Donahoe Tucker in the past, as I recall, that's who Hopkinen used 10 years ago to review the franchise agreement, okay?
Where were the public buildings? Is it
The
in a?
second to last
exhibit?
plan,
Okay.
yeah, and they didn't remove any as far as I can tell, they all look the same. So,
Town hall, the
I-
police station, the Slessor Center, the fire station, the high school, the or the Harold Martin Maple Street, the Bates Building, the library, and rescue squad building.
I mean, that's just courtesy drop, I don't actually think they provide any other service of it, other than the courtesy of having the cable line. I don't remember.
We just moved all of our services off of Comcast
Let's
because we
move-
were paying for the bills.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, is better. I don't see anything glaring in here that
Yeah.
jumps out as an issue.
It does appear to be relatively minor language changes.
Do you want to take another couple of
I'm
weeks to
fine
look
with,
at it?
I'm fine
You're
with
good it?
accepting it, but I don't know if others want to take more time to go through the.
I'm fine with that. It needs to have Steve's name on it instead of Jeff's
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, no, I saw that and I was like, oh.
You come back and sign it.
He's the one who wanted this
Melissa, are you-
45-page red line contract.
I'll make sure I send it to him.
I don't think any length of time is gonna make me confident. And hearing that there isn't a lot of wiggle room that we accept it or we don't, that this is standard for municipalities.
And it's a renewal, yeah,
renewal.
that this exists, yeah.
Did you want to have legal look at it?
I don't,
Not worth
I don't
it?
think
No,
we need to,
okay, just had to ask.
yeah, not on this one. Okay, so. Unless we want to volunteer Steven to go through this line by line. Since he's not
What
here.
happens if you miss the meeting?
That's right. How long do we have to approve this?
July 1st or July, I think the renewal was like July 25th or something.
Mhm.
Okay.
She was saying, target July 1st.
Okay,
But if there were changes to be made, then we needed to get going sooner as opposed to later.
I think probably good on this, but do we need to sign it? Should we sign it now?
No, because it's got Jeff
Gotta make
name
the
on
change.
it, so I'll give an updated, corrected version,
Okay, perfect.
accept the changes and,
Next time we can sign it.
yep.
Okay, that brings us to public
Do you need a
forum.
motion?
I don't
Um,
think so.
Board agreed by consensus to
Okay.
incorporate the red lines and,
And then we'll sign it.
yeah.
If anyone wishes to speak, now is your chance. If you're online, you can raise your hand too. Jim, would you like to come chat?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jim O'Brien. I live at 17 Prospect Street in the wonderful town of Kentucky. So I was coming tonight to implore you guys to take action under RSA 155B, which has to do with hazardous and dilapidated buildings regarding the hazardous and dilapidated building at 24 Highland Ave. So I bought that property. And I'll pass around so you guys have it. Some pictures. Oh, sorry to throw them at you.
Plus, we'll have some in your drive too.
That were taken today. And so the building at 24 Highland Ave has been unoccupied for probably about a decade. And in 2020, in the fall of 2020, a tree fell on that part of the house. And since then, I've come, give you this too. I've come to the board several times, communicated with the town administrator and others to take action. And so I know that letters have been written and the owner has been contacted and promises have been made, but nothing has been done. It continues to be a hazard. We've had to call the police and the fire department on a number of occasions due to an exterior oil tank leak, people vandalizing and stealing from the property, kids throwing rocks through the windows, all sorts of fun stuff like that. And so the RSA that I cited describes a hazardous building as any building which, because of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, physical damage, unsanitary conditions, or abandonment, constitutes a fire hazard or a hazard of public safety. So this building fits that description. The RSA lists out steps that a select board can take to not only strongly encourage, but to require that the owner take care of the property or that the town will do it for them. So I would ask you to take that action, which would be great. Happy to answer any questions.
Is
Just
this
looking at the statute.
the property that we had previously
We're gonna be talking about shortly.
discussed?
Yep.
Okay. No questions.
I have a copy of the statute if you'd like it.
Oh, thanks.
Jim?
What I was looking up.
All right.
I was just trying to figure out, I can't remember when we've dealt with this issue before. Perhaps you remember, when you were on the select board. I just don't remember logistically when a house like fit this definition and was like a public hazard, like what we actually did. Do you recall?
I think the course of action the town should take in this case is to follow the statute and declare it a hazardous structure and then encourage or make the owner fix it, or the town takes care of it. That feels like the process that should be taken under the RSA. And I know for 10 years, the town has reached out to the landowner to do, to make commitments and to do things to the property. And the property continues to melt into the ground and is an unsafe structure. And so I think that the board in the past has tried to take action, and the actions that it's tried to take have not been sufficient or carried forward. And so it feels like there's an RSA that enables you all to do action that is permanent and sets requirements for the building to be made safe.
It seems like the building might be beyond repair.
I am not I'm not an architect, so it looks like it's in pretty bad shape. And so, but you could repair it, or you can require the raising of the building.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. And recoup expenses associated with the cost of that.
Correct, through other lien on the property or other matters.
Okay.
You have some info in.
Oh.
Convenient.
You have some info in your green folder too.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Well, thank you all for your attention to that.
Thank you, Jim. I'm sorry. This was something on our radar last spring, and then with Neil leaving, it fell through the cracks again. So thank you for.
I thought we
We did do a letter, and then then we got a response, and then we were gonna respond, and then.
I feel like 2 meetings ago, we had a conversation how we were gonna ask Jeff to go out and look at it and not look at it, but do a final documentation we can send back to him to be like, this is why we're doing what we're doing and we're doing it. But maybe I'm thinking of a different
That's why
property.
he's here.
Yeah, okay. I can't, I feel like I'm going insane. Stephen?
Me too.
Oh.
Oh, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oof. Okay.
What's it? Who writes our?
Assessment company,
Okay, the
Assess- yeah.
assessment company.
typically.
They say it appears unlivable.
Yeah. Does appear that way. Hi, Bonnie. Here she is.
Hi. Hi. As usual, thank you guys for the hard work you do. I'm getting an echo on my laptop. I hope you're not getting that.
You sound okay.
Okay, good. I just wanted to mention a couple of things about the committee and committee policy that you're working on. The first thing is I hope that you don't make volunteering for a committee intimidating in any way. I heard mention of possibly having an interview for prospective committee members. I think that might make people take pause. It's just a thought. And the other thing on the same topic, it would be helpful to have a clause about removing a committee member if they don't. I think you are working on that, but we've had that on one of the that I'm on. And so we struggled to know a clear way to deal with that. That would be helpful. And that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, and we might remove the interview section. It was just something I plunked in for discussion, but thank you for that feedback. Okay,
Thank you, Bonnie.
anyone else for public comment?
Hi, guys. Again, Lawrence Summit, 86 Maple Street. Just had a quick question. I know several meetings back, there was a discussion about that several town different buildings were under community power, and that community power's rate has consistently, other than the first 6 months, been high. And I was wondering if there's an effort to move back to Eversource or another avenue with those 12 or 14 accounts, because it is a kind of a budgeting issue.
Four
What's for? I'm sorry.
Four are on
community.
community power.
Is there an,
Everything else was on Constellation, which has now flipped back to it's going to flip back again, back to Constellation. I think there was like a 4-month window during the winter that we go off of Constellation and back on Eversource. So
Did we opt out the other 4 on community power though, to go back to
we have
Eversource?
not.
Okay.
No. We can certainly do that.
Okay.
Would that require a vote from this board?
I don't think so.
No, I
No,
don't
we can-
think so. There's no contract.
Yeah,
There's no contracts.
okay. So we can look into doing that.
just in an effort to look out for the town's bottom line, that's all. I have no opposition for people that want to stay in community power. I know some other towns have shut it down altogether, but I don't have a problem with our town having an additional option. I just want to watch our bottom line.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you.
Okay. No one online and no one else here. Okay, so we'll close public comment. Board committee updates. Has anyone met since we last met? I have not. Well, I didn't realize the meeting was scheduled and I couldn't go, so. But I will be going to waste reduction.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have budget committee on Wednesday.
Okay.
Housing committee was past Thursday and we finished with the 3 table land use changes that we are going to be sending up to the planning board. Karen's in the loop, other Karen, and knows what's happening. Yeah, so that portion, that project I'm working on for a couple months is going up, and that'll then follow its normal process where the planning board will discuss it. There'll be public hearings, the town can discuss it, and then if it moves forward onto the warrant, then the town gets to vote on it, and all that information, because I would butcher it if I explain it right now, will be shared in a plethora of spaces as it becomes available. And then on the planning board side, the next meeting is tomorrow. And last month, we heard from Genesis Systems, who are in the very early planning stages for a potential conservation subdivision. I think I'd shared the notes with Karen and Sabrina, because that was like before the last select board meeting that I could not make. Yeah, it's all just rolling along.
Okay. All right, anything else for committees?
No, but with respect to committee appointments for our board, would it be wise to maybe send a memo out to the various committee chairs and ask them on their input if having us as committee members versus just liaisons would help or hinder?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about that.
Wait, I
think-
don't understand the sentence that was just said.
Brought up the point is, rather than having us as individual committee members on these various committees, would it be better that we act as liaisons for those various committees versus voting members?
For those
So the
that it's not.
dependency is different.
Yeah, as
Still-
long as, obviously, and I'm sure you guys talked about this, as long as the RS, because certain ones.
Right.
the
Yes,
RSA
yeah.
spells it.
Budget committee and all this.
Same thing for planning board, like it's spelled out
Yeah.
how the select board member participates.
Yeah.
So if you were if you were not actually a member, then you do or do not vote.
Yeah, the idea, well, at least that I had, was that we wouldn't necessarily be members of
Mhm.
some of these committees if it made less sense for us to.
Okay.
And I'd like to get the input from at least the chairs of the ones that we are already appointed to.
Is it that you have a concern that we shouldn't be attending or that we should be participating differently?
Twofold. Yes, our participation and whether or not it makes sense for us to be a voting member of each of these committees.
Okay.
Because some have just been added over the years for
Yeah.
who knows why. Because, you know, I look at other towns and a lot of some do, some don't.
Yeah.
A lot of these different committees.
We were just discussing, or we were about to do other, so I see you have come up here, but we're not doing public comment anymore.
Well, I can hear from up here. I can't hear from back there, but I have
Oh.
another, I do have another comment when you're finished.
A comment on,
Well, I was told that something was supposed to be presented to you tonight about a tax problem, and it doesn't seem to have come up. This is from Kim, the tax assessor. Current use. So
That came up, to waive the current use,
it's to waive a penalty and interest on a current use.
that happened early on in the meeting.
Is what?
That took place early on in the meeting.
What time?
wasn't that the land use?
That was the
change?
land cha-
Are we talking about the same thing or something different?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so that's all taken care of?
On the
Okay,
Wilder,
so a year and a half, not a year, it's a year and 8 months, the town and the assessor had not managed to address this problem. A year and a half. I got 2 tax bills which were incorrect. I wrote notes on them. I've talked to the tax collector. I had a whole file. I didn't know I should have brought that. I got nasty notes from the town saying, you know, we're pending a lien on this property. I mean, this was not my fault.
Okay, this sounds like a very different issue
I
then.
think we're
Yeah.
mixing.
What?
It sounds different from what we were talking about.
Yeah.
It does not have anything to do with what we were talking about before.
We were,
Yeah.
earlier, we were talking about accepting a donation of land.
No, that was completely different.
Yes. So
Okay,
the
so
thing
what
that-
are we talking about?
No, but I was told that it was going to be presented tonight because you have to waive the penalty interest, which is probably about $50, in order for them to correct the tax cards. The assessor finally, after a year and 8 months, has come up with, oh, yes. But it was put into current use in August of 2024. The select board approved it in September of 2024. I had been here with a little file, nothing had been done. And it's really pretty offensive when you get a thing saying, oh, you haven't paid your bill, so we're going to put a lien on your property. And I'm an old lady, and that shouldn't be happening.
I'm sorry, you didn't state your name, so I'm in the dark here.
Yeah,
Well, I was told that it was going to be tonight.
who said that?
Kim,
Kim. Okay. That was not
Can you give me your name?
pardon?
What's your name?
It's Linda Kimball. It's for a property on 2675 Hopkinton Road.
Did we sign it with all the stack of things we signed?
That on the consent agenda.
Okay,
2-6,
yeah, it's on the consent
2675.
agenda.
yeah.
What's that?
It's on the consent agenda.
I believe we signed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I came to make sure it was done.
Got it. She's got it over there. She's looking for it.
Did you do this like beginning of the meeting?
So
Yes.
we get given a big stack of things to sign and it's one of the things in the stack.
Okay. And is there a little thing there saying it is not my fault, it is your fault that that happened? That I want to make sure I'm not being blamed for this.
I don't know where it is.
Sorry, did you guys say you saw it in the?
It's in the
agenda?
consent agenda somewhere.
Okay.
She
Would-
had
If
it.
it's in the consent agenda, would it be in this pile of?
Yes, in the green folder with all the sticky notes sticking
Yep,
out of it.
yep. Okay.
There's actually, yeah, there might be the first, maybe if it's in the same
Yeah, I
order,
think it's these.
then it's the
Yeah.
top two. If it's in the same.
I'm
order.
sorry, the name one more time.
Kimball?
Miller and Kimball. Does that sound right?
Right here.
Miller and Kimball.
Who's ever. David. Yes, so this says that it was approved to go into current use by the select board on September 9th, 2024, but was never applied to the property owner's tax card. This abatement is for the tax accrued on the 1.13 acres in the first half of the 2025 tax year.
And then there should be another one that says the same thing, but second half. Yes.
Yes, and then this says, the second half of the 2025 tax year.
But what I was also told when I got my snarky letter was that it's your checks and balances. And to me, that's your checks and balances failed. I mean, they also failed because I had been in here before and there was no suspense file on it. I had to come back in and start all over again. Just.
Was that when we were changing assessing
We've had,
companies?
yeah, we've had a number
that
of
that's a-
changes. We've had a change in assessors, we've had a change in town administrators and in the
So I had
assessing
talked
person.
to the assessor for a couple of times, the first assessor. She talked to the assessing company a couple of different times. Okay, we'll take care of it. Then after I got my next snarky letter, I came back in. I mean, I addressed this on my tax bill. I said, I am not paying this because it's wrong and I'll pay it when it's corrected. Nobody did anything. I mean, that's really what my point is. You know, somebody should have done something someplace.
So it's really helpful when the public lets us know, comes in and, you know, we can walk through it. I spent a good chunk of one afternoon this last week doing that. And so sometimes stuff falls through and that's unfortunate, but
Okay, so
we
how much-
love working with the public to
But I
correct
came in
it.
many times, you know, it's not.
Well, you didn't talk to me, so next time.
Now you
you're
know.
coming.
I'm so sorry for your experience.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight and spending your time with us. I'm
If I'd
sorry.
known this, I
that
could have
you-
left 3 hours
Well,
ago.
I know, I'm sorry that you sat for this whole meeting for this.
I'm glad to think that you're near the end of your journey because we have these documents. They are signed. It was approved tonight. Karen, our town admin, please, if you have any further issues, please go straight to her so she can inform us.
Thank you. Okay.
Yes, we were unaware, but I also apologize that you got a unpleasant letter, so I'm glad it was corrected.
So sorry.
Thanks. I don't know
You're
where
lucky
those letters-
I didn't think I had to bring things. I had a little pile like this. on it. So,
I'm just sorry that you missed that it was on the consent
Thank
agenda
you.
and had to sit through this meeting. Okay, so now I think, did we do other? Does anyone have anything for other on the board? Okay. No. Okay, so that means we have 3 non-publics.
I'm gonna add one for reputation as well.
All right, so 4 non-publics. So we will go into non-public and then when we come out, we will adjourn and not conduct any other business. So I will move that we go into non-public under RSA 91A32C reputation and then also E for legal. And it's a roll, I need a second, and then it's a roll call vote.
I second.
Okay, Vicky. Yes. Steve.
Yes.
Me, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go into non-public. Thank you to everyone who joined us tonight.